Blessed be, blessed be, blessed be, blessed be to the day. As I type in the final pieces to the Cash App link and everything. Let me type this in real quick. Allow me to HTTPS. Hit the button. Hit spew. Oop, too many. The mindset of being stuck within the polarities. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Drop that up there. As you come in, drop that ashe. As you coming in. I love it, I love it, I love it. Got my bulls right here. Keep myself focused throughout the shift because y'all know I like to go everywhere. The thought process behind setting your intentions, your manifestations, the power behind these things. I remember when I was going through like my earlier studies. And I remember I looked at monks, I looked at nuns, the priesthoods, and all of these good natures. And their devotion. Their devotion to surrendering all of themselves to something to come to true peace. I remember studying Buddhism, Hindu, Indian. I'm just studying the sciences. I've always been attracted to the sciences. And it was always the aspect of, what if I could dedicate my mind, my entire self to something that deep? Consciously dedicate my mind to something that deep, to be within a space where I'm interfacing and making a conscious choice to be within a space within my mind, within myself, to show my devotion to myself. How limitless would I be if I were able to take on that form, to be within that space? That's what I always thought about. Like, I always thought about the things that I was like, when I thought about monks and I thought about the priesthoods and all these, the sects that just give up everything, give up the whole outside world. And I was like, I always wonder, where would they get such an idea from? But the deeper that I get into my studies, the deeper that I get into my craft, the deeper I go into these phases, these stages, the deeper I allow myself to become possessed by the energy that is to getting to that primordial self, that monster that is me, getting closer to the aspects of my true self. The more that I understand it, it's not based upon this idea of, look what I got to give up. I got to give up. You mean I got to give up this? I got to give up that? It's the discipline of setting that ritual tone within your mind to truly be able to manifest and create anything that you see fit. There's that mindset. The only way something that can stop you or hinder you from doing whatever it is that you need to do is if it's already within you. It's already been programmed within you. I remember I wrote down a list a long time ago. About what was I gonna do, the things I could let go of. Somebody asked me the simple question, can I let go of everything? I was like, yeah, I can let go of everything. And I remember sitting there having that gut check with myself, and I was like, could I really let go of everything? Could I really let go of everything? Of course, at the beginning of most people's list, it would be the people that you don't like, the people you really don't fuck with, certain foods, whatever, like mundane shit, mundane things that you can say you have no relation to, or it's not familiar to what you are. But what about the aspects of family? The ones that you came down here and the womb that you came out of, the portal that you came out of that you called your mother, the mother figure that was in the by blood, the cousin that never seems to do right, but you'll throw hands with just because it's family. You'll run across the fucking ends of the earth for that family member, eat just because they're family, just because they fit in something that you were familiar with. The trauma, the trigger that keeps getting triggered. The next time someone asks you a question, could you really say to yourself, could you say out loud, like the next time someone brought up issue to you, my man doing this and my girl is doing this or whatever. Could you just simply say and mean it from the bottom of your fucking heart, mean it from with all the compassion, no ego, and say, are you going to leave them? Then why are we having this conversation? Man, I'm stuck, man. I need money, man. I need to start making more money. You got $200. You got your taxes. You got your stimulus check. You got the last money of your refund. You got the last money off your damn unemployment. All right, cool. I can show you how to invest. Nah, man, because, I got bills and I got this, and this. Okay, so why are we having this conversation? This is the reality of or for most people's situations. A lot of people tend to treat their altars, their works. You can see within the lines of what they're doing, they treat it like at a desperate moment. Ashe. They treat it like a desperate moment. Every single time. Everything can be going a certain way, but they're not taking the time to be mindful of their meditation. They're not creating their space that they need to create through their meditation. They're not doing the things that they need to do. They think that they're doing something. You can think that you're doing something. But in reality, how clear is your mind? Take the thought process in your mind, how clear your mind actually is when you make a certain decision. Think about everything that's on your mind when you're setting an intention. Your mind has to be of the utmost clear, crisp clarity in order for you to actually seed an intention to manifest something. Your mind has to literally be within a space to where it is actually you have built your subconscious to everything feeds what you're setting your intention on. You literally can see it, you can smell it, you can taste it, you can envision it. And everything that comes up in the beginning of your works, and you go back to these aspects within your works. Some people get too big for the aspect of their works. because they got comfortable within that space. Some people come into this space, some people come into a space with themselves, and they've literally become comfortable getting what they were getting from that space. So when that space starts to get overrun, to overrun itself, rampant, the energy's been there too long, and it starts transmuting itself into something different. This is that aspect. Things start to transmute themselves into something different. The longer that you stay within a space, going against the polarity that that space is, you're going to keep transmuting that space. You're going to keep changing that space. A lot of us really don't even understand how much we seem to change you change shit. Shit is not going back to the way it was. They told you that in the fucking Dark Knight. Shit is not going back. The things that are back there for a reason. The things that you were once familiar with based on the content of the trauma, whatever trauma it may have been, whatever issue it may have been that you have now healed yourself from, that space that's created, that's where that relation comes into play. You start seeing what you were related to, what you were at a point in time, at a certain point in time, and that shit dealt over there. How they're doing certain things over there in this space. I had a conversation with my mother. Sent me a text. I sent my mother a text like earlier on in the week, just see how she was doing. Because I mean, I'm nice to that aspect. And I texted her. She didn't reply back. She didn't reply back till today. And it was the same exact narrative that it's become, that I've become used to with my mother. How you the same dry small talk. Mind you, still have love for my unconditional love for my mother. The same dry small talk that led to talking about the same exact issues. The same exact issues, the same exact problems came up once again. Asked my mom the same line of questions. Asked my mother the same line of questions. Within that thought process, she gave me the same exact answers and went on about my business. The questions that I asked my mother were, so actually the questions actually changed, but the same questions I still ask the same questions. So okay, what are we doing next? It always boils down to the same exact thing. I need money for this. It's always the mundane aspect, not dealing with the issue, not dealing with the problem, not bringing any surface or any focus to the problem until the conversation got to the point like, okay, so are you going to leave? Are you going to do this? This is how I can get you this aspect of money or whatever it may be. This seems to get cold to certain people. I remember the first time I had this conversation when somebody was present, I was talking to my mother, and there was no disrespect to my tone. Everything was into this aspect. I was giving my mother the utmost respect into that space. But the whole conversation always goes the same exact way. Because my boundaries have been set. My boundaries are not going to be altered or taken away because I've released from the burden on my heart to understand, have true compassion for why my mother is where she is at. I have true compassion for family members and where they're at, why they're at where they're at, why they're doing what they're doing, what they've accepted. I had a hard time doing this in the beginnings of my shadow work, very beginnings of the shadow work. I remember the true aspect of letting go. I'm going to let go. I'm not going to deal with this. This is not going to be what I'm going to be dealing with. This is, I'm letting go of this, and this. But it kept coming up because I kept going back into those spaces. Within every axis point within your works, there's going to be the extremes. The conduit that feeds this side, this part, which is the positive, and the conduit that feeds this side, which becomes the negative. One of the extreme examples that I'm going to use tonight is Black Lives Matter and our aspects within the agenda against the black man and black woman. Both sides. That's a polarity. If I familiarize myself with the aspects of the plights of the black man and black woman, I must first understand the eyes of myself and how this will resonate with me. It's not resonating. If it's not resonating with me on the surface, I know it's not a part of my ego. If it's under the subsurface, I know it's one of my parts of my shadow. If it's in my subconscious, then it becomes it's wonder what program does this mean? The agenda against the black man and the black woman, the Black Lives Matter movement aspect. They're on the same fucking polarity. The agenda is funded and your Black Lives Matter is funded on the same shit. They're funded by the same energy. They encapsulate the same energy. Hope, change, and wishing. Let's protest, let's march, let's give our energy away. Let's not come up with an actual source or idea. Now, when I say these things, I'm not speaking from the tone of if I was sitting here right now, or if I was outside right now and I saw a little girl about to get snatched into a van, I'm not saying to this point that I'm not going to try my best to make sure that child is not abducted. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying from the tone of if I see a woman getting knocked around by a man, I'm not going to try my best to diffuse the situation. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I'm not going to create an unnecessary space within my mind based on the narrative of that could be someone that I love. Because that sets the tone for my intention for everything that I do. That's what I'm setting my intention to be with. So that's what it means for me to be. So that is my definition for what, that's the definition that will now encapsulate my energy that I call love. That is the energy that encapsulates the energy for what I call protection. That encapsulates that energy. So I'm encapsulating my energy into a reactive state of mind. So I'm being reactive, not proactive. Why do I have to give anybody, why would I have to give somebody, here's an aspect to think. Why would the aspect of giving you the byproduct instead of showing you how to get to the energy, that defeats the purpose of me truly protecting. That defeats the purpose of truly nurturing, protecting, giving what is actually needed. Not what's wanted, but what is needed. Addressing the emotional outburst or emotional imbalances in a way of pacifying them instead of saying, nah, we're going to bring this shit to the fucking surface. It defeats the fucking purpose. I'm not bonding based upon trauma. To bond based upon those traumas, they started somewhere. Remember last week we got into the aspects The shit started somewhere. It didn't start just today. Your life did not just go down. Your life did not turn to shit starting just today. It didn't start today. It didn't start yesterday. It didn't start a couple weeks ago. It was already in motion. It was already within an inherently flawed motion. Your life, those circles, those ciphers that you get stuck in are inherently flawed. They're inherently flawed circles. They're inherently flawed polarities. There's breaks in every single aspect. It's a gear, like when you think about a gear or a cog, that's what those polarities look like. Or one visualization exercise to see how they look like. That's how they look. That's how they look. That's why when you start seeing shit go down, you start seeing other shit go down, and shit starts getting bigger, shit starts getting crazier because it's connecting to the other links within the other ciphers, turning everything else around within your life. But what is it connected to? This is an aspect that for a lot of people, when they actually start doing that necessary work, what are you willing to truly let go of? What are you really wanting to let go of? What are you really willing to let go of? If someone says, let go of everything, can you let go of everything? Can you sit here with every ounce of your mind, your body, your soul to get to your true self? Can you let go of everything? Some people can't even let go and start, even though it's not a necessary aspect. They can't even do some of the basic disciplines. They can't even allow their minds to wrap around the thought process of becoming something actually to encapsulate that discipline. They can't even encapsulate the thought process. Maybe if this is what can truly help me do something else, because everything is something that is going to teach you and show you something else. It's going to line you up for something else. We get stuck within the narrative externally as we do this part over here. If I become vegan, then, oh my God, I'm closer to this level than anybody else. No, you're just now plant-based. If you get stuck within that thought process, you now have to deal with that next. You have now binded yourself to this ideal. You've bound yourself to this ideal in the fundamental and not understanding the discipline that you're supposed to learn within that space. I'm plant-based vegan because at this point, it's like, nigga, I like the way I feel. I like the way my beard grows. I like the way my locks are softer. I like to make smoothies. I like the aspect behind the disciplines of setting up a tone for myself for a day. But that doesn't mean I'm not gonna say, nigga, but I'm so into that space. It's like if somebody was like, nigga, you don't eat chicken wings? I'd be like, yeah, I eat chicken wings all the time. Nigga, you gotta show me this. I'm always gonna leave an opening for them to want to have to learn something. It's when you make that argument back and forth, you find that argument with yourself. I'm going to argue my points across that you sound like a fucking idiot. It's the arguing back and forth with somebody that has not done the scholarship that you have not done the studies, the research, and the stuff that you've done. Why do you need to argue with this person? This goes into those toxic aspects of family or the familiarities that you have with others that you're based yourself upon because that was your only identity that you knew. That's the only identity. That's the only life that you are aware of. That's the only identity that you are aware of at that point in time. So, of course, you're going to cling to it. That's the same thought process. Take this thought process. There's a video out it came out probably 2006. I want to say it was on YouTube. And they were talking about, it was like the Egyptians. It was some Egyptian guy, like far removed from the aspect, one of the Arab dudes that was over there, and somebody was sitting at the table and asked him like, "Aren't the black people the true da da da?" Nah, they're nothing but fucking monkeys. He fought so hard to hang on to his aspects of what was given to him, that was given to him basically. He fought so hard to hold on to that he got angry at the thought that somebody else actually had rights to it. That sound familiar? We get stuck within family based upon ownership. The defined name, remember, when you define something, you encapsulate that energy within it. The energy now dies to, the energy now only dies or becomes to that space. It only can circulate inside that space. That doesn't mean the energy is dead. That doesn't mean the energy cannot be used. That doesn't mean energy is dead. It does not mean energy cannot be used. That's now encapsulated by that definition. So what you define as your mother, and this goes into deeper aspects of your trauma bonds. What you identified or deified as your mother, in the definition, like, this is my mother. If my mother was not shit, my mother never fed us, my mother never clothed us, my mother was always out in the streets or whatever it may be, then encapsulated in that definition that is my mother, that energy has to fit those aspects within those traumas in order for me to move forward with it, to use it. I have to define myself by that. So now I got 4 baby mothers. Now I got 4 baby mothers. Now I got women issues. Now I got problems. Now I don't have respect for authorities and all these aspects. And I'm constantly angry because I have to continue keeping this energy up. It takes a lot of energy to keep that aspect up. It takes a lot more energy to do what you can than to do exactly what you want. Once you turn into the discipline of doing what the fuck you want, your life becomes a breeze. I wake up every fucking day fucking good. I sat down today in front of my little tapestry over here sitting on the wall, and I sat there and I meditated, and I was imagining, if anybody remember the countdown on Sesame Street, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, when they did a little ball and the little ball and the balls were going down a little thing. And then in that aspect, it was like I was watching my chakras light up. I was like, my chakras in order? Because I just felt a little bit off, mate, with stinking my teeth. I'm saying, now my chakras up. And I'm going down. I'm seeing a little purple, seeing my burst. I'm telling myself, I'm telling my chakras, I'm like, yo, if you online, burst. And like I'm watching them burst, everything's in balance. I'm like, all right, cool, I'm good. Yeah. This is that visualization process for myself. I'm like, okay, cool. Now I'm in order. I'm good. Let me get my day started. Sat down. I had to work on I had 3, 4 charts I had to work on, knocked out. Got 3 charts in the works. I'm finishing them up. The work week has been great. The energy has been great. I woke up this morning. I woke up like 7. I looked at my phone at exactly 9/11 and said I celebrate 9/11. 5 seconds, like probably a couple minutes before that, one of my peoples on Facebook made a post with their 9/11 ritual. I was like, I'm right in line with this. Right in line. I'm right on time. I celebrate 9/11. That shuts down I got a candle burner over here right now, absorbing all the energy from like that 9/11 aspect of energy, right? Like that's over there. This encapsulates that 9/11 aspect for me. When I look at it, 9/11, 911. When you start putting yourself into this mindset, at first, the things that have to change, the things that have to shift, the things that are coming up in your life are the things that you need to work on. If you've ever had doubt in your mind, you have created conduits, whether it's people, places, even to family members, whatever it may be, you create the conduit for that to exist within. You're always around somebody that's, if you ever been around somebody that's always about full of fucking doubt, and you always wonder why you always full of doubt when there's nothing to fucking doubt, that's because you, somewhere within inside you, you are doubting something. Somewhere inside you, you're doubting something. It truly gets to a point to when you're doing your moves and you're doing what you need to do, when you're truly doing what you're supposed to be doing, that work is automatically going to show itself. What needs to happen needs to show itself. We get so stuck in this back and forth. Some get so stuck in this back and forth with their mindset, what they need to do, what they're supposed to really be doing, what they need to not stop be doing, all of these aspects, instead of focusing on the actual works at hand, learning from the aspects that are put right in front of their face. They just say that they're conscious, and I keep telling motherfuckers that consciousness simply means that you are aware. Brother Panic said consciousness simply means that you are simply fucking aware. So you are aware that you were asleep. Now that you are aware that you were asleep, what are you going to do? Now that you realize that when you go to sleep, that's your real world, and here is your dream, how are you going to start interfacing these aspects together and understanding your dreams? This is your dream to actually start building your reality. What symbols are you encapsulating when you go into your real world that you're pulling into this world? That's why you see signs here. That's why you'll see 555s, 1111s, and a crow will land on your fucking head, or whatever it may, a fucking hummingbird flies into your fucking kitchen window. That's why you see these things, because this is your dream world. This is your dream. You go to sleep when you wake up, and you wake up when you go to sleep. Everything around you, you're literally gonna get to a point to where this shit don't make no fucking sense. This shit is like, nigga, what the fuck is that? Why? Why would you continuously do that knowing what the result's gonna be? How about you come try and do this? The aspects of what you need to let go of are gonna show themselves. It's gonna get real serious for a lot, especially with Mercury retrograde in play. I forgot what planets are in Mercury and they're going to be in requisite to the retrograde. But when you're inside this space and you're in your mindset, and you actually when you set your true intentions, when you set your intention, it's going to show you how much do you really trust yourself. Because remember, everything that you're doing, you're cycling your own fucking energy. So it's going to show you how much you really trust yourself. It's going to show you how real how really real. Yeah, all of pretty much. Yeah, you have one or two decisions. You can say that you're ready for something. Yo, I want to have some more money. All right, cool. Here is this plan. Here is this. Here is this. Here is this. Hell, the only reason that I have not started doing, I have my whole fucking plate, but I have everything in play. I just gotta type in some numbers and whatever. But everything is in the pot. Everything's on my now visual, metaphysical, visualized 7-burner stove. All the gas is on. Everything's cooking in the stove. Everything's simmering where it needs to simmer. Everything's in the pot where it need to be at. The oven's at 350. I got the cheese in it. I got everything going to where it needs to be going. I ain't got shit to fucking work about. Yeah, I got the crock pots, got everything, got it all in the crock. I got everything moving the way I needed to move right now. Nothing is going to shift me from doing what it is I need to do. And this is a part of the concept of allowing yourself to truly let everything go. To truly make everything in your fucking favor. Everything's in my fucking favor. Everything's in my fucking favor. I have a point that it resonates with me and it's meant for me to be within that spot and say something within that spot, I'm able to say it within that spot. I'm able to build my case onto that spot. And then it's up to the individual, the place, the whatever it may be, to become humble, to understand, because I've said my piece. I've spoken everything. There's no fear of rejection. There's no fear of, okay, now what's next? There's not a playing with my emotion. There's not a play with any of these aspects. The outbursts and outcries of Black America doesn't fucking bother me anymore. It doesn't get to me. It doesn't resonate. I can now look at it from both sides and understand this is what I must do on this. I can understand and see why they said that. I can see why they're saying that there is a black agenda against the black man and a black woman. Because there is information, there's documentation that says it. There's documentation that says it. But I also can see on the other side, based on knowing, not thinking, not believing, not hoping, not wishing, but in my gnosis, me knowing myself and applying these mechanics and these formulas to the algorithms of myself to create, I can look on the other side and be like, but what if they just did this, this, and this? And since I can see with this clarity, now I can see on both sides. There's people talking about you got to get to this level. Then there's other people talking about this shit over here, talking about it's an agenda and they're trying to hurt us. We got to stay closer together, carrying on the same fucking narrative that was given to you by protesting and marching. The same things that were given to you by the Martin Luther King speech. I don't know if anybody realized it, but everything that the nigga said in his dream came true. Why did everything in his dream come true? Why did everything in his dream come true? Yeah, but because he became your martyr of hope. At that point in time, he was the martyr of hope. Every person that was sitting there with their emotional, that was at an imbalance, all agreed to that thought process, carried it within their hearts, carried it within their minds, and shifted it into that reality. And now that it's another time for you to shift some shit into another reality, some motherfuckers aren't ready. Some motherfuckers want the shit to continue. Motherfuckers have gotten comfortable. Motherfuckers have gotten comfortable in this shit. They've gotten comfortable in making excuses to why they're not going to do shit. I can sit here all day and I can get emails out the fucking ass for services and whatever it may be, readings, and I can make excuses all fucking week and be like, I don't feel like doing it. I don't feel like doing it. But at the end of the week, when it comes time for me to tally up how many clients I've taken care of, how many consultations, how many sessions I got to book for the next week, whether it be readings or whatever it may be, and I'm like, damn, I ain't got no readings. Ain't nobody want no business. Nobody want to do, ain't nobody need no shit. That's all on me. It's not on anybody else. I could sit here and blame anybody I want because I can put that in my fucking favor. I can blame anybody I want. I can blame white people. I can blame black people for being scared or religious or whatever the fuck it be. I can place blame on anything I fucking want. But the truth of the matter is, I'm not putting in the work. I'm not putting in the fucking work, so I'm not getting my result. I'm not going back. I'm taking things for granted because it's there. That is the key aspect with the familiarities that make you related to certain individuals that are within your life, and why they can stay there, why they can shut up shop right there on that fucking, right there on that, right there on that fucking access point for you. Right there. They can shut up shop. They can keep saying that, yeah, I'm trying so fucking hard for my relationship, and you'll sit there and listen to them. I'm trying so hard to find a job, and you'll sit there and listen to them. I'm trying so hard to do this, and you'll sit there and listen to them. Because they're going to be harping at the same doubts within yourself. The same doubts that you have within inside of yourself that you have not yet worked on. The same trauma bond patterns that you keep living yourself within. You keep looping yourself in that trauma pattern. Because something's not working in their world, because something's not working in your world. That's why you keep connecting to them. This boils down the blood aspect, because family is something that supports your growth. Your relations relate to the traumas encapsulated within that space. A lot of motherfuckers are in situationships for 20 plus fucking years because they have not dealt with the initial underlying trauma. And since they have not dealt with the underlying trauma, that conduit that they used to, that conduit that came into the phase is now feeding from that same space. So the same disarray. Let's use an example. I like using examples. I'm a very example type person. If I sat here, no, I don't want to use myself this time. We're gonna create an example. Lucy gonna create something from the fucking depths of this fucking dark ass fucking brain, dark ass fucking mind. You sit there in a situation. Half of your people in your family, they love the system. They in love with the system. They get all their shit from the system. The other half of the family, they working all hard and shit and working for 9 to 5s for the government or whatever, military, whatever it may be. So that's two sides. They arguing on this side about having to pay taxes to take care of these motherfuckers on this side. And these motherfuckers on this side are calling them stuck up because they think they're better because they're doing some work. But in the fucking reality, on both sides of the fucking space, you're both working for the same fucking shit. They just master not doing anything or not doing what they can. You're doing what you can. You're both doing what you can. That's why that shit exists. So making the complaint, you can blame everybody else for your shit, but in reality, nigga, y'all both on the same fucking shit. They doing the same fucking shit, the same fucking doubts. Same fucking doubts and well-wishing. Keeping themselves in that same fucking space, the same narrative over and over and over and over again. Both have a distaste for something that they're not willing to do truly anything to do. Both have a distaste for something that they're not truly wanting to do anything about. Why? Because the infrastructure will fall, and then what will they have? What will they be? Who else can they blame? Who can they feed from? That's like if right now, let me think. That's like right now I think I got like a cousin that stay in like some the income based housing joints. Shit is laid out. If I walk in her house right now, if I walk in her crib right now, she got big screen TV. She got the big screen on the wall. She went and bought out Rent-A-Center with all they shit or whatever rent-to-own store they went to. Got everything in their crib. If I were to go into their house and say anything other than anything slight with the ulterior motive of like being so like, damn, Must be nice. Just start thinking about these things that we say. Damn, must be nice. You got all this? Yeah. You don't work? But like, I mean, I only can work like 20, 25 hours a week. Man, you got it. Yo, you doing real good in here. I go on about my business. My energy came to the space. I tapped in. What I've done is I'm not going in there based on emotional of hating or whatever this may be. Emotional outbursts. Like, I can't believe you got all this and I'm paying all my taxes and all this shit. That shit don't even fucking matter to me. Or didn't pay taxes. But that's not the point. Walk in there and be like, cool. Now let's take this same example. You go into this space. They're not doing anything to stimulate anything. They become complacent within that space. And you go into this space and then you leave and then you go tell like 5 or 6 of your friends, like, yo, man, I can't understand this, man. Motherfuckers out here working hard as hell. And this bitch got Alexis and this bitch got this and this bitch got this. Guess what you just did unconsciously? You fed that aspect of energy within that space. Connecting to that space. By your connection to the familiarity of being related to the, you have to be related to something in there for it to phase you. Them not doing the works that they need to do becomes a reflection point for you to see, but like, maybe I'm not doing the work that I need to be doing. They're doing nothing and getting something. I'm doing everything and getting nothing. But what am I really doing? What works am I really putting in? That's a reflection point. But we get stuck. Motherfuckers will get stuck and they will make an argument or a debate based on something, but you have no, it's cool because you can make everything in your fucking favor. So it doesn't matter if you argue, oh my God, they're on Section 8 and they got big screen TVs and they went and got a Cadillac, used Cadillac Escalade truck. So the fuck what? What are you mad at? All this fighting I do, man, because I'm trying to uplift my people and liberate my people from. Do they really want that? Do they really want that shit? You're trying to push something onto somebody, and do they really want it? So you ask yourself the question: are you going to evolve or repeat? Are you going to keep putting yourself into this mindset over and over and over again, not really getting anything in return? They're getting the base level of shit that's at this level. What you're seeing within, if I go into that space and if I see they went to go spend all their money on a television and their money on this and this and that, I can't get upset with them. But like, yo, good job, good. You doing, yeah, you do. I see you doing your thing. You're doing what you want for you. I'm proud of you. Good. Boom. Going about my business. Because in that same line, if I agree to the agreement to debate or make up some reason for doing some shit, and I've done this shit before, make this argument. Now I have to become pro versus my pro against them being the antagonist within that same polarity. I'm stuck in this polarity. Now, no matter what I do, in the back of my mind, the thing that I'm feeding is the thought process that I never want to be in that position. I want to show that I can be better than them in that position. I can be better than them. I can get exactly what they're getting by doing what I'm doing to maintain the external state of being. So I kill myself up to the ripe old age of 33, and then I'm still doing the same shit because they're still doing the same shit. And my only reason for not wanting to do that or not letting go of that aspect, this one aspect that's holding me the fuck back, that's truly holding me back, is my relation to that trauma that led them into that space, trying to fix this trauma instead of trying to learn from this aspect, this negative, and turning it into my positive, or having the transparency within it and be like, you know what? That's what I need to start paying attention to. because we only looking at the image. A lot of motherfuckers only look at the image. I want to look at the image. Okay, that's the image of what I think black people should look like this, and a black woman should be like this, and a black man should be like this, and they should be like this. And you create all these fucking bootleg ass, mundane fucking definitions for what the fuck you think somebody's supposed to look like, when in reality, fuck doesn't matter. Okay, create it. If that sustains in your world, that sustains in your world. You'll find someone into your space. It'll come to you the way that your intention. But if your intention is not fueled by the pure of heart being pure, your intention not by that aspect, then everything that you will create will be within an altered state of what the fuck you truly looking for, what you truly should be achieving to go do. You won't get what the fuck you want if you keep going around the same fucking shit. You can't say that you want fucking positivity in your life and abundance in your life and prosperity in your life and wealth in your life and all these higher aspects in your life and still keep applying yourself to the same old bullshit, the same old arguments, the same old talks that lead to nothing, the same old problem, bringing up the same problems with no fucking solutions. There's always going to be one simple solution. I remember looking back in the day at those old pictures. Like, I remember looking at the old pictures. It was like, yo, don't ask me a question. And they used to have Devin to do, and he have a blunt in his hand. Like, I'm not the friend you come to, because I'm gonna do is hand you a blunt. That's the aspect that I've gotten to. I understand that. I'm like, I'm only gonna give you one answer. Are you gonna leave? Man, I hate my job. My job ain't doing it for me. Are you gonna leave your job? Yo, why the fuck we keep having this conversation? Yo, man, it's easy for you, man. You done did this, this, and this. And they can start nitpick. They can start, yeah, that's the best kind of friend. But the aspect of what we're going into, people get stuck in this aspect of, I truly do not want the information that is going to help enrich me, or because it's going to challenge me to come outside of a space that I'm not ready to leave yet. I'm not ready to leave here. I'm going to complain about it. I'm going to talk shit about my job. I'm going to talk shit about my girl. I'm going to talk shit about my baby father. I'm going to talk shit about these people, but I'm really not going to fucking leave them, because it's always going to go back to your default trauma. It's always going to lead back to the default trauma that started the whole fucking thing, which is actually simply another effect of another original cause. They were there for me when I was going through this, and they were there for me. It's like me sitting here saying that my mother was there for me when I was in a position when my infrastructure first fell and I rebuilt that relationship with my mother. Thankful for that aspect, thankful for that blessing, thankful for that gateway to be open, to be able to do that work. But I knew going back there, I knew I had to put in some fucking work in order to truly be separated from it. Not in this aspect. People get stuck on this aspect of, if I do this, then now what? Or if I do this, then what will I have if something falls apart? You setting up the tone for the doubt of the reason that they're there in the first place. The reason that they're in the space that they're in is because of the doubt. It's because of the trauma. It's because of not accepting an aspect within that cipher to unlock that energy and use it for something else. That's why they're there. Every time that you sit here and you have a doubt, you naturally go back to the original source where your doubt started, where your original training ground. You don't learn the lesson. You get stuck within the cipher. You tired as hell. You over there for 15. You can be, if I go to my mother's house for 15 minutes, longer than 15, 20 minutes, I get fucking anxious as hell. My legs start fucking shaking. My hands will start fucking twitching. That's why I went and got these amethyst and organite balls aspects. Because these are the best things for me to actually. One, it makes me feel like fucking evil. It gives me that evil villain look, calming myself down. But two, these are like better than stress. One has a tree of life on it, and the other one has I call it a Naruto symbol. I know what it is, but I just call it my infinite spiral. That's my Naruto symbol. But this is the aspect of you going into your reality of yourself and what the fuck you really need to let go of. Stop trying to take shit back into a fucking space. Stop getting all your new shit and then that's like the same equivalent of a motherfucker getting a brand new fucking car and then going over to their friends' houses that don't have a fucking car. What do you think they're gonna fucking say? Some are gonna say must be nice. And then some are gonna ask you for a ride. Stop letting other motherfuckers ride with your fucking energy. Stop allowing other motherfuckers to ride with your fucking energy. They catching a ride on your shit. Yeah. They're going to hate on it or they're going to freeload off of you. Because they have not learned how to charge their energy. What that's showing you is, have you learned how to charge your energy? Have you learned what your auric field? Are you doing the work? Are you seeing that your auric field is in play? What is stagnant within your auric field? Why are you so complacent on going back to the same thing? You keep showing complacency. I can hear people say all day, I don't like being complacent. I'm not trying to be complacent, but you keep showing your actions are of complacency. Your actions are of expectance. How can you be within, I'm open to accept everything to come to me if my mind somewhere in my mind is programmed expectancy? If I do this, then I expect this. No, accept everything that come the fuck up as you get into that point, as you're aligning to it, because that's the shit that need to come up. You knew your friend wouldn't shit when you knew your friend wouldn't shit when you met him. You got old enough and you knew your mother wouldn't shit based on the stories other motherfuckers told you when you got older. You've been given every answer that you need. What the fuck are you doing now? What's left? I can change them. You can't change anybody. Change is an inevitable factor based upon evolving or repeating. So yes, a motherfucker can change. But if they stuck in the aspect of repeating the same narrative, that's like them changing their hair or changing their shirt. They still going to be up to the same shit. This shit here is the ultimate becoming unfamiliar with your old self. One of my end of the month mantras for myself, I got like my phone and I got all old pictures of myself throughout my growth. And I go back and I look at each one of the pictures. And I look at my face. I visualize what I was doing at that point in time. I look at it. I think about the list that I created at that point in time for myself, what I was doing. And I see how much closer to it I am now than I was then. Then I look at the things or the streams. It's basically I deify my old self, my old selves. I literally go through the process of I look at my old self and I deify it based on negative aspects and the positive aspects, but mainly I look at the negative aspects. But I look at the negative aspects first on the first aspects of the visualization process. I look at all the positives that deity of myself did, that I was at that point in time. And those are the things that I champion. I look at the negative aspects as the training based on whatever trauma, whatever things that are triggered in my recent life. Recently, I go back and look at these moments in this time. I go back into this time loop or this space of myself, and I look at this picture. I'm like, damn, he had the same issue. Or damn, he had the same issue being open. He had the same issue in staying focused. He had the same issue with this, or that. This, that, or the third. And I look at these issues, I'm like, all right, cool. Where does that lead to? And I might have to go back to another picture. And I weave these together, and I'm like, oh, then I come to that clarity for myself. Allowing myself the discipline to take myself to that clarity until I become fully unfamiliar with why that was there. I'm not becoming unfamiliar with it in the aspect of shutting it off or rejecting from it, Ashe. From rejecting from it, I'm looking at these aspects in order for me to redefine that energy, to take that energy from that space and redefine it and using it to my new day. This is the aspect of looking back at your old self. This is the aspect when you're getting into your shadow work and you now set out, now you have your books of your lives over and over and over again. These are these aspects whenever you go into a Akashic meditation or you go into you go into a psychedelic trip or whatever it may be, you go to get into that space. These are the things that you are creating with. These are the aspects that you're creating within those spaces. It's similar to like when you look at your natal chart, you look at your natal chart as the roadmap. If you take the Western aspects of your natal chart, it's the roadmap on one end. But on the other aspect, the Eastern aspect or the Vedic chart, which I got like 6 of those to fucking do, that gives you deeper aspects and it gives you more in depth simply because it's giving you deities and principles within the deities. It's the same thing as doing an Akashic reading, doing when someone goes into your Akashic records and does an Akashic meditation of taking you back to your old self. This takes you deeper back into the aspects of your old self. This is a key in setting. This is the key or the foundation for when you're setting your intentions. Being able to take power from everything that is around you whenever you go into a space. Not based upon being negative and taking energy, because motherfuckers do that shit unconsciously. If you go around enough negative motherfuckers, all these motherfuckers are always going to be tired, angry. Something's going to be wrong with them because they're all charging from each other based on a lower vibration, a lower frequency. So they're all feeding from that same space. So the minute you keep going back into this space with your new energy, yeah, I'm a Kimite. All right, cool. That's nice. Because they're only going to be able to feed off of the negative aspects of what that is. They've been given an entire intellectual dialogue, which is within that spookism shit, about everything that you're going to do. Everything. That's the dialogue of them. That's the dialogue of this space that feeds this space. That's the negative. You know the positive aspects. So the longer that you stay within this space with the fractures that are within your psyche before you make yourself whole, that's how those things are feeding from your energy. This is the aspect when motherfucker says, I did a love spell on somebody and I want to take that shit back. Nope. You better go to the motherfucker that told you how to do that shit. Because you ain't ready for that. You weren't ready for that. You wanted to take the easy way out of doing something. This is the narrative that has become ever so real for a lot of Black people. Based on the same aspect of entitlement that motherfuckers, there's white privilege and there's white supremacy and then there's white supremacy and there's white privilege and there's this and that and they can say this and they can do whatever the fuck they want. You can do the same exact fucking shit because you already do it. And you're going to use the same exact law that they use at this fucking level to sustain your argument. So yes, on both sides, the shit fucking right. It ain't about fucking bad or good or right or wrong. Both aspects in that context are both right. Because most motherfucking niggas have that thought process in their mind that when they get what they get, they gonna do some evil shit to white people. It's in their heart. It's ingrained in their fucking heart. And the motherfuckers that feed upon it are the motherfuckers that are always in constant conflict or are trying to debate something to you, to make a point, to debate something to you. Not denying the knowledge that they give you within it, but it's been filtered through so much, it's been filtered through so many fucking trauma points. That's the reason it's relating to you and your ego. That's why motherfuckers get this information and it's based on a prideful aspect and they can't humble their heart to actually get the full intent. When they're taking themselves into that next, when it's time to go to the next level, they're like, okay, I'm ready for the, no, you're not. You're not ready for the next level. Because what you're going to take up there to the next level is the same shit that you didn't deal with down there. The same shit that you rooted in, you may have changed out the pot. You may have changed out the pot, changed out the dirt, but it's the same fucking roots. The same fucking infrastructure is what keeps your mind encapsulated in the space that you're going in. So you'll keep arguing. You keep arguing about black men not being shit. You keep complaining about black women not being this, what they're supposed to be. Neither one of y'all are being what the fuck you're supposed to be, because that's why you keep seeing that reflection. Now everything's off. Because you are not understanding why everything is off. Everything is offset because your mind is offset. If my mindset is within that aspect of being offset to try to prove something or try to keep my narrative going, I can't take the true depth aspect, the true deeper aspects of what that space is. I'm going to keep teaching the same old bullshit. Even though I got the example right in front of me. As a trauma, I deal with traumas and all that. I deal with this shit. So I have to have an balanced objective when I go into a space of understanding something. So I will never see things. I see things from both sides. That's not something for me to have to explain to any fucking body. The ones that understand it. The ones that don't. That's clear cut plain. That's what it comes down to. If you feel it and you understand it, if you know it, we can't explain it, but we know it, we on that wave, then we in it. But it's all about seeing things from both fucking sides of that coin, that transparency. What does a child that went through life, what is a female child that went through life not seeing love or not seeing balance within their parents, within their household, what do they grow up to be? They grow up to be, in some cases, since they were unhealed based on this aspect and became an unhealed version of themselves, and the only time that they saw that their mother or their father or mother, father figure, whoever it may have been that was raising them, the only time they ever saw anything that looked like love was in a physical aspect. So that's what they now transmute and say, okay, that's what love is. So what do you think they start implementing even at a younger age? That same fucking shit. That same fucking narrative. Because they don't have what they're seeing in front of them is a fucking conflict. What they're seeing is what you see that's within conflict. You created the conflict within the space, the new cause, and now they create the new effect. What do they grow up to be? They grow up trying to be in reality without understanding it, just like you didn't understand it. They grow up to be the same aspects or try to not be the same aspects as you. I'm never going to let a man hurt me. I'm going to use niggas and take their money, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to play niggas. I'm going to finesse niggas. And then they grow up to be grown ass fucking unhealed sex workers. They unhealed because they're using that space to operate with it. And then the same narrative goes along when when a new mother sees that and be like, that's because of this. She's a hoe. Why is she a hoe? Why is she a thought? And I guess that's the new shit we don't use now. Why is she a thought? Don't give the fucking same fucking surface fucking answers because that's what men like and all this bullshit, because now you're programming a new narrative into your child's brain. Now that's going to be one of the thought processes that they're going to be in conflict with, because what they see and what they're trying to get to, there is a gap. Because in reflection for you, what you see and what you're trying to get to, there's a gap. That gap is the work that you got to do in finding out how to connect or align yourself to that shit. Setting that new intention. A lot of people don't understand how much it is to live within your shit. Once I've set an intention, I'm living inside the shit. If it's something, very rarely it's something mundane, but like once it's trickled down to a certain point and I feel the energy getting heavy, I do things that I would do within that space. Like I would look at, if I say, okay, after I get to this point in doing the podcast and doing recordings, I'm going to do live streams and more live aspects. I got to get this computer. I got to get this equipment. I got to do this and this. I'll spend a couple minutes each day looking at the products. I'll go look at the products. I'll look directly at the prices. I'm looking at everything that would usually defer me from stopping from looking at it. Damn, this is $600, man. I can't get that. What I'm sending them, I guess I'm not worthy of that. That's not my energy. I look at it. I fill up a whole shopping cart. Damn, it was only 10 G's. That's it. Cool. I'll have that when I get to it. I live within the manifestation. I live within that space. Everything that comes up that can deflect me from that aspect, shit start coming up like you got a friend that got money problems. That is going to be a trigger. That's going to be a trigger in your life. That's a trigger. That's a distraction. Surprise. Don't look at that external. Don't look at when people see the shit that's happening on the fucking news or whatever's programmed into that. That's a reflection of, that's like the extreme point of your shit. It's something that's going on in your fucking life. That's why it connects to you so easily. That's why that can connect to you so easily, because it's already something going on with inside your life anyway, in your environment. It's simply reflecting off of another reflection of something besides you. You just don't want to see it. Let me make the shit bigger. Let me make the shit bigger real quick. That's the aspect of you making your thought process of aligning yourself and allowing the things that no longer serve a purpose to fall the fuck away. I will not sit in a circle, period. That's the boundary that I set for myself. I will not sit in a circle with people that are in a mindset that are always talking about a problem, but no one brings up a solution. I made that promise to myself when I made that promise to myself, and it took a long time for me. I made that a goal for myself when I was 16, 17. I remember sitting in I was 16, 17. It was a summer vacation. I was down here. I was chilling I was at my mom's house. I was sitting in my room here, sitting in there, sitting at my desk, and I'm looking at this sheet of like motherfuckers that owe me money that I borrow money from me. Nigga, grown ass fucking people borrowing money from the 16-year-old kid. Yes, it's because I was in the fucking underworld doing my shit out there in the world. I was in the world, out there doing my thing. Yes, it's because of that. But I had to first realize, like, why do they keep coming to me? I can make it blame, like, these niggas ain't getting there. Like, why they keep coming to me? Because I was willing to go to the space to go get the energy. I was willing to go that extra step. They weren't willing to go that extra step. I've always been willing to go that extra step. They weren't willing to go that extra step. This puts me into that mindset of like, you know what? This is why my shit keep happening the way the fuck it keep happening. Because I keep going that extra step. Let me resonate and see how this shit fucking work. It wasn't that I'm willing to go the extra step, because that's a given. It's the fact that I was in the mindset, or I had the ability to do it. I was open to a level that they were not humble to be open to. So now I'm in that space, I'm pulling that shit down. But I'm sitting in this space trying to keep this shit sustained, and I'm getting upset. I'm not getting upset. I'm not getting irritated. My emotions are fucking triggering. I'm angry. I'm mad. I'm pissed off. All these aspects are coming up. They're only coming up because I'm within a space that cannot contain the energy that I'm pulling down. I'm in a space that the energy that I'm pulling down cannot sustain within this space without there being other imbalances. Everything got to be at a certain balance. So as much as a motherfucker can think that I'm doing my family some fucking good by trying to give them this knowledge, I'm going into the church doing these motherfuckers some good by giving them some knowledge, some information, you ain't really doing anything. I'm going to be fucking 100% honest and real with you. You're not doing anything. You're doing nothing but prolonging the death that needs to happen. You're prolonging the infrastructure that needs to fall. Because their mindsets are still stuck within the narrative of the default hope and oppression. Their mindsets are still stuck within the struggle mindset. So anything being better than nothing, you giving them the little bit of information that you're giving them, that's the little bit of something from nothing. You're doing your magic. You're doing your work. You bringing something from nothing, the aspect of your magic, bringing it from the invisible to the visible, showing them your shit, and they're like, see, the reason that I can do this, they're going to come up with their own interpretation, be within that space. See, God sent you, boy. Nigga, no the fuck he didn't. The nigga that you said sent me didn't send me. But in the other aspect, I can see how he sent me. This is how you come into the balance. I ain't going to argue. I'm like, yeah, you're right. He sent me. Because I can see how he sent me. Because I can go down the line when I'm looking at information, and I can study the aspects about archons and jinns and all these deities and all that energy that's within that space that encapsulates and locks that energy into this space. I can be like, oh, I see how that works. And since they're in an unconscious state, they're not aware that they're not asleep. They're not aware to go through the process that they need to go through. That's what the fuck you feeding them on. That's how this shit's sustained. Your identity is what your identity is what they cling to. The things that are now obsolete within your own working, the things that are now obsolete based to you are now still very efficient to them based on the aspects of time. Remember, the deeper that you go within yourself, the further you are in time. Time don't exist for you. Think about the example, like you go to work every single fucking day. Think about the aspect when you went to work every single day and you got your first car, you got your first crib, you got your first shit. You got your first car, you got your first crib, you got your first everything. And you did all that work and you had all your shit in your crib. Every motherfucker that comes up to your shit They have no aspect of time. So they looking at you like, damn, man, you coming up in the world, man. You got this over there. You got the house over there. You got your crib. I see the TV. I see you doing your thing. You gonna argue you'll say, yeah. They're still stuck within time. So all of their arguments, anything that they're saying is going to be stuck within the cifra of time. You're not within time anymore. You have learned, you're learning the aspects of the chaos to become the chaos, to become the creator. To understand that you are the creator, you must understand that first you are the chaos. To understand that you are the chaos, you must understand the hidden culture or the occult aspects, or you must understand how to put these things together within the chaos or being the alchemist. And then that takes you to the aspect of understanding the hidden aspects. Since I've mastered creating something, now it's time for me to master the chaos that comes in. Now it's time for me to master the chaos. Once I've mastered this chaos rhythm, now I can master the alchemy of working within the chaos. Once I've mastered the alchemy, now it's time for me to master the aspects of potential energy. Because I've mastered energy that comes down the pipe. Now it's time for me to master the potential energy. This potential energy is unfamiliar to everything else on the other side of this space. Your potential is, when it boils down and matriculates, you wanting to start a business, you wanting to start your company, you wanting to brand yourself, you wanting to do something that's outside of the narrative of kinetic or repeat or kinetic energy that's going to take potential. They can't see potential energy. This is a whole different spectrum of light. Whenever we think about the astral realm and it has colors that you've never seen before and all of these aspects, this is what you visualize inside of your mind in order to understand it. That visualization of colors you've never seen before is the same thing as saying foods you've never tasted before. It matriculates down here as something different. It matriculates as something down here in rhythm to that aspect. So the same aspect. So if you get stuck on, you go to, let's say you end up in fucking China or Japan. I've been to Tokyo twice. You go to Tokyo in Japan. Back in that time, you go to like the truer aspects. You can understand why in their culture, whenever you say you don't like something of theirs, they look at you like you lost your fucking mind. Because of the time and the work and the effort they put into their shit. What you mean you don't fucking like my shit? You shouldn't have fucking ordered it. That's why they give you an attitude. That's why when you go to a other restaurant like Asian, whatever it may be, and you don't like what the fuck they gave you, and they look at you with that face because they put time, effort, and work into their shit. They looking at you like you lost your fucking mind. Expand your palate. You look stupid. What it is their ego not allowing them the compassion to understand because they haven't gotten to that level yet. So use that aspect that you moving back and forth when you get upset when a motherfucker ain't getting what the fuck you saying to him. You get upset having an argument with somebody that's not understanding the aspects of what you're saying. It's because they're still stuck within a certain aspect of themselves. In that lower aspect, it's showing you that you're stuck in an aspect within yourself. But in the other aspect, once you have now recognized this, what are you going to do next? That's like sitting here and you got somebody that does not do shit in their life. He sit there and play the game on fucking day. What the fuck are you going to do? Are you going to leave? Or are you going to shut the fuck up and go make Hot Pockets or some shit? What are you going to do? What are you truly going to do? If you're not going to demonstrate the extreme, why the fuck are you even talking about it? If you ain't willing to push that fucking button, why the fuck are you talking about it? If you ain't willing to go there, why talk about it? It's done for fucking talking. Are you afraid to become that true monster? Are you truly scared to become something that is unfamiliar to humanity? That's what that shit boils down to. So when motherfuckers get stuck within the agenda against the black man and the black woman, I say that's nice. I can understand your points, but here are a couple of my points. The only reason that they can encapsulate an agenda around something is because they defined it by that name, defined it by what it is. I do not define myself as black. I don't. I'm the essence of all. I'm the essence of all. Of course, I speak in that tone and I'll use that to that aspect because I understand and using that attributes of that ideal in that body of light to speak on certain points. But I don't even, that's not even me no more. That's unfamiliar to me. I'm far removed from that because I don't use the to be a part of that or to relate to that. I have to relate to those traumas. Someone cannot tell me, yo, it's hard out here to actually start something. Someone can't have that conversation with me if they're truly not ready for the answer that they need to take themselves to the next level. Someone cannot tell me, though, it's hard to, it's hard. No, it isn't. I can show you, but you got to be open to the learning process. I've said it on countless podcast episodes. This same spot where we sitting right now, right here in the living room. If I take the laptop from where it's sitting at right now when I'm talking to you guys, and I lift it up and put it on my little stool I sit over here, this is where I produced the whole podcast. Music and everything. Right here on this side of the couch. On this side of the couch, this is why I'm sitting here reading, because I'm reading next to my little salt lamp pyramid. So I'm reading and changing my information right here. I meditate and elevate right over there. I do classes and whole sessions right over here to where y'all can't see over here into this space. If you've seen my meditate elevates on Facebook and Instagram, that's where I'm doing it from. I do everything from this spot right here. Everything from creating, and it's with no prior, it's in the aspect of no prior actual experience. I'm not worried about the aspects of money because I have an understanding that my gift, working on my talent, working on my craft is what's going to beget the energy. As I pull that energy down and I'm cycling my energy through myself, that's what it's going to go to. So if I make sure my shit is whole, my shit is solid, I know that what comes from it will be reflective of that. My intentions within my mind, what comes up, the doubt, whatever doubt came up, whatever trauma came up, whatever shit I had to work on, I worked on it right there. Not with it. When I say right there, I'm not saying in the aspect like some shit come up, you got to sit your ass down and work on it. I'm talking about within that aspect of that space, that's when you work on it. You set the plan in motion to actually work on what it is. You keep applying this algorithm, and I guarantee your shit gonna formulate, your shit gonna pop. Your shit gonna do exactly what the fuck you wanted to do. Because you bringing it into alignment with your favor. You're paying attention, you're paying your homage to everything that you need to pay attention to and lining up with the energies you need to line up with it. The only way that it doesn't do it is if your intention was not pure of heart. You are not of balance. You can sit here all day, back and forth, up and down, and argue with other motherfuckers why your shit didn't work, or why this didn't work, or why this isn't working, why my shit ain't working. That's some bullshit. But then you want to go to it just like when you in a desperate aspect. Motherfuckers want to be desperate and want to do shit. And I'm like, why the fuck are you coming to me now that you desperate on some shit? I'm running out of options. The fuck you mean you ran out of options? I gave you this information 6-7 months ago. Now you want to do it? It ain't gonna work. What you mean it ain't gonna work? You said if I did this, this, and this, at that point in time when I said it, it would work. Because you were in the position where you were humble enough to actually obtain the knowledge to use it to apply it. You ain't in that space no more. You didn't let a whole lot of shit build up on top of it. So it's gonna work, but it's not gonna work the way you want it to work. That is the realest conversation that you can have with an individual. But in order to be able to have that conversation, you got to remove yourself from the relating based on the trauma, and now you're relating based on compassion. Relating based on compassion versus relating on that trauma. Relating on that compassion means you have taken these steps of forgiveness within yourself, learning within yourself, to come to this understanding within yourself, to be able to see this point over here, to be able to see it from both sides. You can see it from their side based on the work they're not doing, and you can see it based on your side based on the interpretation of the work that you've done. So now you can have a clear, balanced aspect of conversation, giving that light, and you don't have to worry about, man, they don't get it, so I'm not going to keep saying it to them. I keep trying to tell my people this and this, this and this. It might not be meant for them. It ain't meant for them yet. You got to stand by what you're saying. You got to stand by your intent. If you're not standing by your intent, you can't build the program. Remember, you are the programmer. You are the programmer and you are the program and the programmer. You are the ma and the tricks. You are the may and the tricks. You are both. The ma being the masculine, the tricks being the feminine aspect of the matrix. You are the may and the tricks. You're both aspects. You must come into the balance and realizing that you are both of these aspects, the observer and the self-observer. It goes into the same aspect, the observer and the self-observer. You are the many eyes of the observer and the many eyes of the observed. You are the many eyes and the many points of the matrix, as well as being the aspect of the fully programmed matrix. You are these aspects. This is how you take your mind into the next level of being able to understand, that's what I'm doing. That's why I keep coming up to the same space. That's why I keep having the same doubt. That's why I keep going through this same trigger. This is why I keep going through the same trajectory of doubt every time that I say this. That's why this keeps coming up to the surface every time that I say this, because I'm living within the same space based upon the trauma. I have to realize to myself that I have not healed as much as I thought I've healed. Because to say that I've healed yields to the thought process and comprehension of the other two eyes of yourself. The parts of yourself that you have not dealt with and the parts of yourself that you have not yet seen. The known and the unknowns. This is the aspect when you start looking at whenever you heard Bobby Hemmett say the aspects of to all God's known and unknown, that was an aspect of what he was speaking on. The known parts of your properties of yourself and the unknown properties of yourself. That's what he was speaking on. You have to be able to take the information and take it to the next space. Yeah. I thought about the aspect when motherfuckers were mad, like the thing with 5G came up. And everybody was like, yo, 5G is going to kill us and da-da-da-da. And 5G and this, and this. I'm looking like, what? So you mean that's going to, okay. So you mean a synthesized version for them to be able to exist in is going to destroy you? Oh, that's cute. That's nice. It's not going to, the only way something can penetrate your infrastructure is if you allow it into your infrastructure, or if it's already with a part of your infrastructure. So if I give you something that's based upon doubt and doubts within you, based on whatever trauma, whatever link is linked to, when I give you this aspect to make you doubt something, it's going to trigger these doubts. It's not going to trigger this collective of doubts for the Black people. It's going to trigger the doubt within you. Remember, you focused on the energy and not the image. The energy and not the image. Once you learn how to understand the energy and understand understand the imagery and see how it becomes what image on that screen, now you can move back and forth and understanding both sides of that fucking transparency. Because you're able to see both sides of the coin as both sides of the coin simultaneously. The coin doesn't exist. There is no spoon. What's the first way I got to do it? You got to realize that there is no spoon. Motherfuckers haven't realized that there is no fucking spoon yet. You ain't realized that there is no fucking spoon. Therefore, the spoon exists. Yeah. Therefore, the spoon exists. Therefore, oh my God, they're taking our babies for adrenochrome. Now the spoon exists. Now the substance that they put on top of the spoon exists. How they gonna heat it up? Oh my God, I'm so angry. Your rage becomes the flame to heat up the fucking spoon with the adrenochrome on it. You give them, you feed it to them. You give them the energy you give them the energy. When you're looking at coming close to chase the home, you give family members that energy. You give family members or relatives that energy. Because they're used to coming to you based on a problem that they have not yet solved to themselves. I can't solve that. That's not something I can solve. But I want this, and all this emotional, twisted up type shit. And then you sitting there thinking, okay, I'll sit here for like 5 minutes with you and listen to this issue. But if I wake up in the morning and you didn't leave, I'm going to be fucking pissed off with myself because you didn't leave like you said you were going to leave. He came in with flowers. We sat down and we talked. What did y'all talk about? Man, we talked about what you're really talking about. Yeah, you literally did talk because all you did was talk and speak on the same issues. And then you initiated that same old program of I'm going to change. I'm going to do this. This is what I'm going to show. I need examples. Okay, cool. They give you an example. You accept that example. Now they change based upon that example. But the necessary aspect of the original reasoning why they came up into that space to keep it in conflict is because you are still in conflict. You're still in fucking conflict. So if I'm still in conflict inside of myself, that means when I reach to a certain point with something, it's always going to end in a conflict. The conflict is either going to be restructured and then I'm going to procreate through the conflict and then create another space for the new energy for the conflict. Because remember, the energy cannot sustain within that space because it's an inherently flawed space. It's already inherently flawed. It's meant to fucking shut down. Trauma is an initiation module. It's the vehicle for where the energy can travel through at its weakest point. Why do you think if you get in an argument with somebody, you can get emotional? If you weren't ready for it, you get emotional. Because the reflective or what was inside of you based upon that trauma is what it can get through. That weakness or that stagnation in your auric field is what it's connecting to. That conversation is a new positive within that space because it's intended to do something. It's kinetic. Your auric field now absorbs this to that stagnant, weak spot. To what it's saying, what your ego or your identity is saying, that it's strengthening this spot. Yo, I didn't been through it all, and this is what it made me. It made me a monster. It made me a savage. You're no fucking savage. You ain't no fucking monster. You hurt. You ain't no fucking monster. You hurt. All the monsters that I know and all the monsters that I've read about, them some motherfucking badasses. You know the difference between a monster and a hero? The monster and the hero? The hero needs a state of external to survive. The monster is festered from somewhere deep within. If you look at every monster or every villain, the way that they got to the way that they were was something festering from deep within. Whether it be that aspect of the hatred or whatever it may be, something from deep within them made them what they were. And they accepted exactly what that was. Now, a hero, something happens with them deep within. And in order for it to be activated, they need an antagonist. So they need each other. Your monster inside of you needs the antagonist, or what would be the protagonist. It needs that positive aspect in order for it to exist, in order for it to function. The only thing that keeps your monster, your internal self, your true you in, are the aspects of the reality that you have not yet accepted. The aspects of the reality that you have not yet accepted. So if I have not accepted aspects of myself that I need to accept, or when I'm ready for, it will always play out in reflection as something that I'm not willing to deal with. I thought about this when I thought about the Tamahu, white people, whatever you want to call them, whatever you might want to call them. I thought about this aspect when I was reading when I actually started reading. I actually got into the book Dirt, the PDF Dirt. I'm reading Dirt and I'm looking at the socializing experimentation of putting everybody in there. I'm looking at it, I'm reading, I'm studying. I'm like, yo, everything that they literally are, and it was just reinforcement for me, everything that they literally are is an evolved actual aspect of something of us. Even the way that they presume to money, houses, the things that they're doing, it's all based on a de-evolutionized aspect based on the intellectual property, the intellectual definition of what a house is, the intellectual definition of money, the intellectual definition of what wealth is, what being rich is. Everything that they are obtained to is only a byproduct. They cannot reach the byproduct. They have not done the necessary work to reach to the true byproduct. They can get there, but they have to take a whole bunch of more steps. You're in the space where you don't have to take those steps. You don't have to do the ritual bullshit that they do. You simply can set your intentions based on the ritual that they do. But in order for you to set your intention based on the ritual that they do, you must remove that bullshit as morality that they put over your head. That morality aspect that they put into you, that's been programmed into you. That robot narrative of this is good and this is bad. You have to remove yourself from that relation. Shit. You have to remove yourself from that relation, that point, in order to actually start using and doing your work. Because it's some things can be done based on the training aspect, which is in truth. Some things can be put together based on the training aspect. Like I can sit here, like if I make a spiritual bath, or if I do spiritual baths, if I make a spiritual bath or do a drawing ritual, yes, I use the old aspects, candles, writing in the candle, the herbs that I prepare, but I now have, for it to work within this space, I have to interface it with energy based on this space. So if I'm making somebody a prosperity Bev, best believe I'm listening to fucking either Moneybag or Drake or somebody talking about money. Because I have an understanding that the definition that they're using, I can take that shit apart as the alchemist, take it apart, as the magician, bring that shit back together as what I needed to work for. Use it as it works for me. For like all week, I've been singing witch ass pussy all fucking week. And I got another song, it's called Warlock Pipe. It's coming soon. But I know how to use that aspect of energy because it's at a certain vibration. It's at a vibration where it's kinetic, but I can take, it's a potential energy. It's been brought down. It's a potential energy that I can use within that space. Whether I use a little bit of it or a lot of bit of it, I can use it. This is the aspect when you're setting your intentions. So you can go into any space. So now when you go into your Section 8 friend house and she listening to wet ass pussy the next time, instead of you've just found your nexus point to actually give you enough energy to sustain within that space. So now I can listen to this song. Okay, cool. I ain't gotta move, I ain't gotta dance. I can visualize that energy and using it within that space. It's the same thing with using fucking 9/11. I told her I celebrate 9/11. I went back to the day where I was at in 9/11. When I was watching 9/11, I was in my 9th grade fucking physical science class. I was in my 9th grade physical science class watching when the towers fell. Where were you at when 9/11 happened? That's your encapsulation point. That's your point that you can now start building from. This is that removing that mystic aspect from magic and actually setting your intention, because all magic is setting your intention based on potential energy. So if I can go back to the time where I was at when 9/11 hit, I know that's when my work starts. That's my ground zero. No pun intended. That's my ground zero. From that point, that's why I need to understand everything from that point to this point. That's what I must understand to align myself with that energy. What happened on this day? It's like looking at your birthday. It's like looking at your death day, birthday, whatever you want to call it, your solar return, whatever you want to call it. Looking at what events happened on your birthday. What events happened a couple days before your birthday, and what events happened a couple days after your birthday. Visualize those aspects wouldn't have happened if you weren't born. Whether they're negative, whether they're bad or good, doesn't matter. You're visualizing those things wouldn't have happened if you weren't born. Those things wouldn't have happened if you weren't there. What you're going to be doing, you're going to be triggering your mind to come out of the aspect of rationalizing why the fuck you was somewhere, something happened, and you got upset because my people ain't never gonna be right because of this, and this. You're training your mind to step out of this space. You're training your mind to come out of that space of rationalizing the trauma, rationalizing the trigger. Stop putting rational and logic to the trauma and the trigger. Don't rationalize it. Your brain rationalizes so it can exist. Without this, then I couldn't have done this. Without my pops calling me Lucifer, I would not be Lucifer. Without my pops saying when I was 13, saying that you are Lucifer, I wouldn't be Lucifer now. That space no longer can serve as a point of trauma for me. I'm not hurt within that space. It doesn't draw from me within that space. That means me. So when I embody that energy into myself of becoming this energy, becoming this entity, becoming this energy in this space, there's no weakness or no weapon against me shall prosper. There's no weapon that can hurt me because I've encapsulated everything that could hurt me in understanding it and raising myself up, because I understand why it happened at this point, and I can understand why I have the understanding of why it could happen on those multiple levels, if there's multiple levels. And on this side, I have a balanced understanding of how I can use this in my favor. That's my transparency. Now I can bring that shit together and raise myself. Family members haven't done it yet. Relatives haven't done it yet. The things that you're relating to, they haven't done it yet. There's something within their life that they have not accepted within themselves to take themselves to the next level and make themselves better. They haven't accepted it yet. That's not for you to go sit over there every single day and, hey, you can do this and you can do this and you can do this and you can do this. If they're not open to it, then they're not open to it. You can literally sit here, like I can literally sit here and give somebody a whole fucking, I can give you something, but you'll never use it because it's there. Because you didn't have to go through the process of earning it. This is the aspect of that initiation process. This is the aspect of your initiation through the infrastructure falling based on your many lives. Some people just now woke up, some haven't woke up. It's going to take such an extreme, since it took such an extreme for that space to be created, and they're so far removed away from the original concept, it's going to take an extreme on this side for that infrastructure to fall for them to actually use it, to actually tap into that aspect. It's going to take that same extreme. It took an extreme amount of events for them to be in the space that they're in. It's going to take an extreme amount of review. It's going to take an extreme amount of effects on this side for that aspect to actually kick in. When you study the aspect of the mythos, you look at the village, and in order to become a man, you had to go out into the woods, into the wilderness, and kill a wolf, and then you would get your scars. And then you saw all the older men with the scars, or you saw the older women with the rings. All of these aspects, these are all aspects of the intention of the initiation of taking themselves to the next level. The infrastructure of their old self had to be destroyed in order for them to embody the new aspect of energy. Some people are still moving back and forth, trying to play on both sides of the house. I know how to deal with this, and I don't. Okay, cool. Of course, you become okay to deal with this, but can you truly deal with this? Putting all of your eggs into this basket, so to speak, to deal with this aspect over here will set you up to not be able to deal with everything within this space. Okay, if you can do it over here, you can do it over here. The stream, that confidence, that middle point, that transparency is your confidence. Why were you able to do what you can over here? What external factors were within that space for you to do what you did over there? You had an external structure based upon traumas. Your family was there. My family is everything to me. Your family is everything to you based on what? It's easy for people that really haven't had to deal with their family. It's the same. It's not easier for the people that have had a family and the people that have not had a family. It's the same fucking shit. In reality, the person that never had a fucking family in those aspects, they got to take a different route to understand those aspects. They have to first understand those aspects in order to even go through the process without actually truly having not having that archetype space first. That's why when you chose yourself and you came down here, you came in that pipeline, you came down here, you chose what the fuck you chose. You chose the algorithms in order to suit the space that you had to create for yourself. You chose that shit. That's why you'll have such a offset balance to yourself about saying things and being boisterous and speaking on certain aspects, because you're built for that space. That's what you're supposed to be doing. This is what you're supposed to be achieving while you're within your space. But you have to be removed from the aspects of your emotion, the things that are going to leave you shut down, to leave you upset with shit. The easy ways out. You have to remove the easy ways out. Because the easy ways out on that lower vibrational level, that lower frequency, all of that's based on trauma. Your easy way out in that inherently flawed cipher that you keep jumping back into, that's based upon it's the easy way out because it's a trauma there. Even if you dealt with your trauma, you've dealt with your issues, you've dealt with your traumas, then you must now, until you humble yourself, the traumas, even if you deal with them, you'll end up dealing with them over and over and over again because you ain't humbled your heart yet. Because now you thought it was the aspect of mastery is to become the most humble. True mastery is becoming the most humble. As we shake up the coconut water, true mastery is based upon being the most humble. It's your true mastery is truly being humble. Every reading that I do, I look like a little kid. I'm excited as hell. I'm excited as hell to do a reading. I'm excited as hell to do meditate and elevate. I'm excited as hell to do a podcast. I'm excited as hell as I'm sitting here right now. I'm excited as fuck. There's no seriousness the only seriousness translates within the tone coming from a space of the knowing. Other than that, it's like, nigga, I'm fucking having blast. So my shit naturally can transmute and flow. It is not through pain. There's certain things that I've had people email me or they'll send me a text and they'll ask me, why don't you talk about this? Or why don't you speak about this? Or why don't you speak on this issue or that issue or this or whatever it may be? And I always say that doesn't resonate with me to my heart of hearts. In the way that resonates with me, I'm going to talk about this that leads to that. I always want to put myself into the position to be talking about the cause, not the effects. Well, most people are talking about effects. Well, most people are talking about we got to set the new cause. When people are talking about that cause, I'm doing it for the cause. I'm doing it for the cause. What they're truly saying is they're doing it for the effect. Whether they're unconscious of it or they're not conscious of doing it. And some motherfuckers, they're actually conscious of themselves saying they're doing it. When they say they're doing it for the cause, they know the effect that comes from that aspect of saying they're doing it for the cause. I'm doing it for my people. The people are the effect. In reflection, you see it as a cause. In this space, there's motherfuckers that have become comfortable with telling you the same bullshit every fucking day because they feed from it. Okay, cool. This is how I get what I fucking need. This is how I get this. Let me talk about how angry I was today. There's aspects when I say that to certain people, but it's truly not of me. When I speak on these things, when I speak, I'm speaking from the point of the middle point. I'm not ever going to speak from this extreme or that extreme because that means I will be clouding the actual aspect of the learning. I speak from the middle point. I speak from the transparency. This that transparency is gone, so I speak without the fear aspect of if I say this, are they going to not listen to me? Because the ones that are within that space that it resonates with, they're going to get the information that they need. They're going to get what they need. No matter what they are getting within that space, they're getting what they need at that point in time. It can be some mundane shit, but it's getting something that it's been implemented. All I think about is the implementing. If it's implemented, if it's there and it hits and it makes the move that it's the intention is to implement. Because until you implement it, I can't apply it, and then I can't use it, and I can't build upon it. So there has to be that point. That's why every day being today is the only day that matters. And to win the day, you must understand the night before, or to get through the day, or to understand the rise of your moon day rising. That's why I say these certain aspects and I say certain cues, because those are initiation points. Because from there, that's when I speak the rest of the spell. We have to understand, but in order for me to understand how to do that, to do that without even really thinking about it, it just flows. The spirit hits me, the ancestors, those aspects of myself hit, and I'm able to do it like that is because I'm not thinking about, okay, what am I going to say this day to get this many followers? What am I going to say this day to get this many followers? I'm not thinking about the byproduct. The byproduct would be the followers. If I cannot live by my standard or my boundary of study all, and my mantra, study all and follow none. I couldn't live by that aspect because it wouldn't be me. I could not say the aspect of saying fuck them kids and then give the clear explanation behind fuck those kids when you saying fuck them kids, because it wouldn't triangulate into the thought process. It wouldn't be coming from a true intent of body of light. I would find myself continuously trying to find the algorithms to stay within the trend. Let me talk about this because they're talking about this. Let me talk about that because they talk about that. That's trauma bonding. That is one of the extreme external points of trauma bonding. Let me talk about every issue that come up on the fucking news and give my interpretation on it. Let me get a piece of the energy, because that's actually what they're fucking doing. They're actually encapsulating based upon the energy. As long as you're externalizing, that can be my child, that can be my son, that can be my daughter, that can be my husband, that can be my father, that can be my mother, my aunt, uncle, whatever it may be. That can be somebody I'm related to based upon the trauma. And they can step in there and give you some nice words and smooth jazz that shit and make it look real fucking nice and give you the movements and wear the pieces that make you think, oh shit, they want us. Motherfucker, they feeding from your dumb ass. They feeding from you. They need you to stay there in that point and be distracted by not dealing with your own internal workings in order for them to get what they need to get. That's what they were built for. That's their conduit of what they were made for. They're an external subsource of something that you already created. You created a shield in front of you created a turret in front of the shield. What you think, that martyr complex, are you creating that turret, or this individual is about the people? They're about black people. They're about black problems and black issues and all this stuff that's under black and all this stuff that's under the agenda against the man. We're going against the man. That's your torrent that is now siphoning your energy, because your energy is the fucking fuel, or is the fucking ammunition into that, where you think that you're destroying something. You're not destroying anything. It's a refractive aspect of you to the furthest extreme. How are you destroying something that is you? It exists because you exist. It moves because you move. It breathes because you breathe. So what are you're not shooting anything at it. You're not destroying it. Take the aspect of We need to get guns, and we need to get weapons, and we need to get economy, and we need to get money, and we need to get this, this, and this. Think about what the fuck you saying when you saying that shit. They print money. They make guns. They make the ammunition. They make everything that you say that you need. So unless you then came to the point like, nigga, I'm going to start making my own bullets, like Sons of Anarchy, go to the Indian reservation, they make their own fucking bullets. Unless you making your own fucking bullets, unless you manufacturing your own shit, you're really not doing anything truly. So the only thing that here's an idea, use their shit, that's your shit anyway. Use your shit by submitting yourself to the attributes of the ideal and use that shit to your own fucking advantage. They can't see past a certain point. They can't see past the trauma and the triggers that they have not dealt with. Their way of dealing with it is always going to be on an intellectual level or by using... One second, that's a repeat. Their aspect and when they're moving forward is always going to be using the concept of something intellectual that they can see and feel and touch and use in the physical to make your shit work. The reason that my mother for so many fucking years could get me to be upset and be mad and mad at either be upset at one of my sisters or brothers or upset at my pops or upset at somebody is because she can manipulate the broken aspects that were within inside of me. Not being able to be there when I could have been there. Being too young to being 4 years old and the confidence based on my identity at that point in time, thinking I was not old enough or strong enough to actually subdue something that my pops did. They can use that against, they use your emotional imbalance, they use your trauma, they use it against you. What you built up into that aspect to tap into your shit. You're the only one that has the fucking energy. That's why they need you around. That's why on both sides of the fucking field, that illuminated aspect, motherfucker can hit you with, it's an agenda against us, then we got Black Lives Matter. All right, Black Lives Matter starting to lose energy. We have to cause a conflict or a controversy behind Black Lives Matter to get energy back into it. Oh, Black Lives Matter is ran by a trans woman and a lesbian woman. Who the fuck cares? You tap into that fuck. Now you're upset with that. Now your energy's going into that because now you're caring about one side or the other, the positive or the negative aspects of it. The positive being Black Lives Matter, the negative being behind Black Lives Matter. Either way, you're feeding your energy into it. And now that you fed your energy into it, you shoot that torrent or this siphoning device into the wall to keep that environment sustaining. You go into your space, you accept the argument on your phone. Your homegirl call about her baby father or her wherever the fuck she at. You accept the argument. You sitting there listening to it. You literally dying inside as you listening to it. Like, yeah, The quickest way to dissolve the argument so it does not drain your energy is simply saying, You're right. Are you about to leave now? Because it's going to force their hand. It's going to force their hand. They have no real power outside of you with paying attention to it. If you make it real, it's real. You make it an issue, it's an issue. If you don't have an understanding of why it's there, then of course you're going to be looking at, see, yeah, it's the agenda, man. They're trying to make this against this and us. They putting us against each other. We need to stay together. I don't stay together based on trauma. Sorry, brother. I can't trust nobody. Do you trust yourself? The next time you say you don't trust somebody, ask yourself, do you trust yourself? Do you truly trust yourself? If you were put in that same exact position, this is how you create the visualization for yourself. If you put yourself in that same exact position, could you truly do what you say that you're going to do based upon the moral imprint that you put for yourself? That's like me looking at a movie and motherfuckers saying, man, they wouldn't have had me back in slavery. Nigga, you would have followed the script within that space. Accept the reality of it. If you were back in those days, depending on because you living through it now. One, you living through it. You benefiting from it. So if you're in this space now, doing what you're doing now at this now point, and you're saying that if you did something different, you would have did something different, then think about it. Would you be doing what you're doing right now if you were in that point? If you could go back and change that point, would you be doing what you're doing now? You'd be following the fucking script that was back there. I knew I was one of the I knew I was one of the rebellious slaves. I knew I was. Because it's written in my fucking Akashic records. I had a conversation with somebody like, yo, man, I would have been one of the rebellious slaves. And then I'm looking at them, and the spirit was like, I'm laughing at them. I don't know why I started laughing. But then I got back to the house and I was chilling. I was like, why the fuck was I laughing? I need to find out why the fuck I was laughing. Then the channel was like, that nigga, bitch. That nigga been weak. Oh, that's why I was laughing at him. Because you inherently know. Once you remove the aspect of fear of being rejected or being rejected, being neglected, being cast off to the side, that's the whole aspect that's what you were trying to do anyway. Ain't that what you're trying to do? Separate anyway? Aren't you trying to truly separate to get your true self? That means it's part of your process. My people think I'm crazy, and all the shit that I know and all the information that I'm getting and all of this shit, they think I'm crazy. Cool. Let them think you fucking crazy. You know your truth. That doubt is what's going to keep you from getting to your truth. The doubt is what's going to stop your genius. That's going to stop you from building your intelligence, tapping into your intelligence, tapping into your higher self. These are the aspects that stop you from tapping into your higher self at every given fucking time. That doubt, that doubt, that little bit of fear, those little bitty conduits that are sprinkled into your little blunt that you smoke up, and you try to smoke them shits away. You smoking an empty fucking blunt because you're still trying to escape. I literally write on everything. I wrote on this fucking black and white. After repacking it, I wrote on this shit. I smoke my intentions. You know, smoking's bad for you because it does this, this, and this. It does this, this, and this to your body. My body's charged differently. That's why it's there. That's why it's there for me to use. Because I have a deeper understanding of it. But that's not for you to explain to anybody else. Stop trying to explain to get an expected response. Start explaining based on the acceptance of yourself. If you accept your truth, you speak your truth. If you're speaking your truth based on being healed, then you ain't got nothing to worry about. Hell, if you speaking your truth from trauma, that's when you speak based on trauma, that's when you worried if it's going to be accepted. I can go whole fucking months without talking to nobody. Whole fucking days without talking to nobody. And in them whole fucking days of talking to nobody, I can get the most work done. I can sit there and knock out, and not in its aspect of multitasking, I can get like multiple tasks done within a space of time with no fucking issue. I can sit there and do everything on my list to the T. One of my biggest things in my training for myself was understanding that aspect of looking like, oh shit, maybe I won't be able to do this, or maybe I won't be able to do that. Maybe I can do that later. I can do this at this time. When I started trying to make a list, the list never came out the way that it needed to come out because it was based on me expecting my list to give me the necessary result. My list was the necessary. Expecting my list to give me my necessary result never yielded me my necessary result. It wasn't until I accepted what I needed to do to get to a certain point and accepted in acceptance that I was able to do what I needed to do. So I can look at my list. I accept this list. I accept the amount of time. Anything that comes up while you're working on your shit, that's the shit that you need to pay attention to. Not in the aspect of becoming distracted, but seeing what it does to you. If I sat here right now and I was like, all right, cool. Tomorrow when I wake up, I need to wash clothes. I need to do this and I need to do this. If there was any doubt within my mind that I cannot get everything that I needed to get done, that's when the distraction will come up. That's when the person that has a problem, that's when the friend or family member comes up and they hit you with, I need a ride. I need some money. I need this. I need this. They hit you with the byproducts that are reflections of the aspects of you. I need a ride. That means, no, I'm concentrating. I can't lend my vehicle to you because it's going to fuck up my drive. I can't lend my money to you because it's going to fuck up my energy or what I'm trying to how my energy's flowing. Start looking at that shit back and forth on that spectrum or that space. That way you start breaking away from the aspects and you actually start getting more shit to you. You're already abundant. You're already prosperous. You're already wealthy. You're naturally royalty. So being anything destitute doesn't serve a purpose to you, but you have to align to the truest aspects of what being abundant and wealthy is. I'm aligned to the truest aspects of what wealth and abundance is. Everything that will come up based upon traumas, everything that will come up based upon those triggers, I've done a lot of shadow work within those aspects. I've done it for so long that I'm now in a quantum aspect of learning. The quantum aspect of coming into your quantum mind is being able to download things at a moment's period of time. That's that aspect of just knowing. That's like, think about, 2 + 2 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 6 is 8. No, 10. Yeah, 12, 8. Shit. 2 times 4 is 8. You know that inherently. That's a part of your net. That's the initiation process of your programming. You can't throw that shit out. because it's ingrained into your mind. But you have to learn how to use these aspects in order to take yourself further. It's not about throwing out. It's like when motherfuckers throw out fucking religion and say Jesus wasn't white. I don't give a fuck what color he was. It was an allegory any fucking way. It's an aspect of the Christos energy. So anything outside of that narrative is how they use it. So why the fuck would I even care? That's like if someone gets mad that a white person says nigga to their friends, to themselves, or whatever it may be. But you have all of the information of understanding where the word nigga derived from. Why would I get mad that they're using it? Because they're not using it in the definition that I understand, so it's not defined and encapsulated within the energy that they're using it as. So no matter how they use it, I use it in my favor. Yeah, call me a nigga. I don't care. Call me a nigger. I don't care. I understand the etymology and the actual aspects of the word. So no matter how you use it, I understand the spell, so now I can manipulate it for my own game. Call me a nigga, I'm going to laugh. Call me a nigger, I'm going to laugh. I'm going to say you right. I'm going to go about my business. Once I'm able to do this, I don't have to worry about them saying anything else to me or bringing anything else to that substructure to me. Damn, it don't affect him. We can't get to him. Art of War. I'm not showing my hand. They showed me their hand. The worst thing they can do is call me a nigga. The worst thing they can do is shoot you in your head. The worst thing they can do is release you from your physical body. The worst thing that they can do. So what the fuck am I mad at? What is, once you have that understanding and you start applying that algorithm to your life, what are you really mad at? If you still picking sides, why? Why am I going to pick a side for? I already know the end. You know the beginning, you know the middle, and you know the end. You already know what the fuck it is. Now devote yourself to your fucking learning of your fucking self. Then you ain't got to worry about it no more. It doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter how they act. It doesn't matter how hurt it doesn't matter how much they scream to the top of the lungs to try to get you, because all they want is your attention. That friend or family member that's never going to leave the situation that they're in, they just need your attention. They need somebody to see them. They need someone to see their pain, or their pain does not exist. If I cut my leg off, where will I feel the pain? If my leg has been cut off, where am I going to feel the pain? Where am I going to feel it? It's all because you're looking at it. If I watch somebody, if I'm standing here and I'm in a position of high intensity trauma and someone cuts off my leg, then yes, I'm going to scream because my leg was cut off. Oh my God, you cut off my leg, because I saw it got cut off. But if I'm knocked the fuck out, or if I'm not in that space, in that context, and they cut my leg off, and I've already learned that my leg is simply part of my physical body, nigga, I can astral travel. Nigga, I can remote view. I don't need anything that requires this body part is not needed for me. So, okay. We're going to cut your leg off. All right. What you mean, all right? You can't walk around. That's nice. Nigga, I ain't learn how to float. You just going to initiate me to have to learn how to float. Using it for your favor. It doesn't matter what somebody would like to say or do to me, or they can say so many horrible things and say we're going to kill your family and all this shit to me. In reality, for me, if they say it directly to me, that's the only way that I can make the defense within that space. We're going to kill your mother. Like, all right. Because they need the response. They need the response from you. Because anybody that's really going to do something, they're not going to tell you they're going to do it. unless they need your response. They need your emotion. They need you to react to it. They need you to react. If somebody was at my mom's house right now and was like, we're going to kill your mother. Okay. I wouldn't do that. Why? Because you're calling me, you don't know who the fuck I am. You don't know what the fuck I am. You don't know what the fuck I'm capable of. So by you calling me is letting me know that you don't know these things. We know where your mother stays. Okay. I know where my mom stays too. I know exactly how much my mom rent is. I know all that shit. You'll probably be doing her a favor because now she ain't got to pay rent no more. The worst thing that they can say is, okay, we're going to do it. And then the halfway point of they're going to do is be like, all they're going to say to me is, he's sick and twisted. Either way, I'm going to win. This is all about creating the scenarios in your mind to win. Stop. The only reason that you call yourself a loser and you say that you're oppressed because somewhere within you have oppressed something. You struggled against something. I'm struggling. Why are you struggling on the external state of being? Why are you struggling? Because you're struggling with something inside of yourself. You're struggling to be able to focus on something that you need to focus on. The simplest thing to any situation is listening. I cannot be a fool. I cannot do what I do if I had any doubt. I truly know I cannot do what I do if I had any doubt. I cannot go as hard as I could if I was full of doubt. I could, but then everything would transmute through doubt. That energy would resonate based on that level. Because I'd be doubting myself or putting myself in that lower life aspect of relating to the doubt. I would need a conduit that stuck on doubt. So I couldn't be open. I couldn't be open to receive and no one can be. I couldn't be open to give and no one can be open to receive the message. These are aspects within balancing yourself into your balancing the higher, truer aspects of yourself. These are these aspects that we have to start looking into. The relating to your ego is what people are doing now. They relate to your ego. Even your enemy relates to your ego. They only can relate to your ego. Because to relate to your true you will require them to relate to their true self. That's why one of those lines is someone that said they'll be like, I'd rather have a racist that's out front about their racism than somebody that hides. Yeah, makes sense. Because I'd rather you be up front with your shit than behind closed doors. But it's all about acceptance. Once you said that you accept that aspect, what are you going to do with it next? Lock yourself into a room and I'm going to try to make them not racist. That's nice. It's part of their fucking programming. They're not racist. They're doing what you're not able to. They're doing at this level. They're doing what at this level to sustain this space. Ask yourself the question and create the scenario in your mind. If you were in the same position, wouldn't you do the same shit? If you say no, then you ain't went deep enough. I can say yes. Can you? Can you say yes to that? Can you say yes to that aspect? Could you do what they're doing and understanding that it's for the preservation of this space? This is all that you ever had. If this is, you only know this as your beginning, you don't know your end. You don't know your end. You don't understand your beginning, so therefore you cannot understand your ending. So everything that you're doing in your middle point is to cause a veil over your transparency to understanding where you became from. Most people can't even do that in their own. Most people in your own family can't even do that shit and accept it. All they know is to work and run around and make it look like they're doing something based on the imagery of their external state. If I look like I'm doing good, if I look like the money that I want, if I look like these aspects, then I'll have those aspects. No, you won't. I mean, you will. You will have the mundane aspects, but you won't be able to hold on to them because you created them in a false body of light. When you're looking at people that are within a certain narrative, they're creating from a false body of light. Down here right now, motherfuckers are creating from a false body of light. The false body of lights that they're creating from are based upon the trauma. The symbolism within that trauma is a symbol encapsulated within that. Across from me right now is my Ganesh, Ganesh tapestry. On the Ganesh tapestry is the swastika or the original 4 points. I looked at that and I laughed because it's there. Now, if somebody wanted to have a distaste or fundamentally sound against that, when they walk in here, they will look and see that symbol and think their mind would compute it as evil or compute it as bad. More for me. Yes, feed it your negative energy. You like that? I like that. Feed me your negative energy. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get to. Feed me the negative energy because I already have the positive. Putting yourself into the space of making everything into your favor. All this negative shit going on, all this negative shit. Oh my God, they're killing kids. They're always going to be killing kids. They've done that since their beginning. They killed their own. They're of you, so they're your own. They've always killed their own. They've always sacrificed to the gods. You're the god. They make a sacrifice, you make an emotional adjustment with your energy, and then you feed them. That's all you're doing every time. Every time you say her name, find her killers. That's your reply to their sacrifice. They need you replying to their sacrifice. Every time that somebody comes into your space and gives you a problem and you reply in a manner that it's not your fault, or you reply in something that's going to pacify them, you're giving them the answer to their sacrifice. They'll sacrifice that negative shit to you all fucking day. They'll sacrifice every argument. They'll sacrifice every time something goes wrong. They'll sacrifice it to you because that's what you're going to feed on. When you understand the aspects of the archons, when you understand these energies of archons, jinns, when you go into those mythos and understand those shits, you understand exactly how they feed. Now that you understand how they feed, how are you going to feed? Because they're only an aspect of a lower aspect of you anyway. Every deity, everything that's down here that you are against is an aspect of you that is devoid of the moral aspects of the inherently flawed, which is humanity. That's what it is. So you become the ultimate monster. I love being uncomfortable. I'm so in love with being uncomfortable. I never look uncomfortable because that's the point. I can move within the spaces that needed to be moved within. That's your key aspect, becoming that fucking monster. Their definition of a monster is only one half. What made them the monster? The trauma. Either accepting it or either repeating it or evolving from it. So this sets your tone. Like, what are you doing next? Now that you're in the space where everything's in a constant state of creation. What are you doing next now that you're in the space? Now that you have all this shit that you now can create from the chaos, what are you doing? How are you investing into it? If you're investing into it the same way that if you're investing into it the same way that you invested into everything else, then that's why you keep getting the same result. You keep applying the same old ritual and wondering why you ain't getting nothing new, because you keep applying to the same old ritual. You getting what you can get from that. That conduit just cannot sustain that energy. You need to think higher. You need to go higher. You need to challenge yourself to go to the next level. Or else you're going to be putting blame on everybody else. You're not going to see the structure that you need to see within yourself to take yourself to the next level. I need structure. I need to earn this aspect. That's why your manifestations can be fucked up. Every time I try to manifest something, nothing ever happens. And I'm doing everything right. You are? What do you mean you're doing everything right? Well, I'm doing this, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing this. I hear a lot of doing, but I don't hear the intention set based on your knowing. If you're doing one aspect of what it is, if you're doing the aspect of what you need to do, appreciate that donation to the appreciate that, bro. I have did I go through the names? Yes, move. I'm gonna have your natal chart should be done Sunday. If not tomorrow, if not done and sent out tomorrow, to be done Sunday. Appreciate that donation. But when you're taking this aspect into yourself, or moving yourself and putting yourself into that new mindset taking yourself into the new space that you need to go into, becoming unfamiliar with the space that you were once in, is your key. Stepping past that point is going to allow you to come into your true abundance and prosperity. And it's going to come within the imagery of creating based on the new potential. Stop looking for old shit and start looking for the potential shit. That is the key aspect when you're going into your manifestation. When you're manifesting, when you're setting your intentions, you're not focused on the same old shit, getting it the same old way, being able to maintain it the same old way. Remember how earlier on I was talking about when you're setting that goal for yourself, you have to literally set the goal to where you have to become an entirely different entity of energy in order to achieve it. Every goal that I've set for myself, I had to become an entirely different entity, mentally, physically, spiritually, in a whole aspect of balance in order for me to achieve those goals. I'm 35. I'm retired. I'm retired from working for people. I work now for myself. I now serve. Ultimately, I serve my community. So I don't have to think in my mind, how am I going to serve my community and help my people? I serve them. It's inherently already done because I'm serving myself. By me setting myself into the space of serving myself, I naturally can serve anybody that's open to that space. Instead of me sitting there on the same sidelines, in that same space with them, sitting there saying, yo, we need somebody to do this. Oh, okay. So which one of us is going to do it? What you going to invest in? I said it earlier, Rebel, you need to change your name on your Facebook. On your YouTube to match your Facebook name. But even when in that body of light, what have you invested and tapped your energy into at this point in time anyway to change? To truly change yourself, you're going for potential energy. At this space, I'm speaking to the ones that are within potential energy. and then the understanding of getting to the potential energy. We work with the potential energy. When you're working with the ancestors and the spirits, you're working with kinetic energy. Once you become the interface of the spirits, once you understand you are the spirits and the ancestors, you're now working with potential energy. You're understanding how to conjure by setting those points, your north, east, south, and west, your serve, does not serve, positive and negative, setting your new trajectory point. This is the only one that matters. Today is the only one that matters. This is my nexus point for how I move forward. This is what's in my crosshairs. This is what I shall attack for the day. Once you've interfaced with your energy into that full encompassing, and to encompass fully into your energy of your higher self, you must truly understand the aspects of your higher self. This is not going to be based on this, especially means accepting your level of being where you're at. If you're getting what you've been getting from what you've been getting from, and you're happy with what you're getting from there, in this point in time, guess what? You're going to be facing some undiscomfortable shit because you ain't going to keep getting shit. Shit ain't coming down. You got to go up to it. The only time the energy get pulled down is when you're matching with it. You got to match to that frequency any fucking way. So even then, you got to go up to it. So you can't be on this low vibrational shit of trying to get your man back and then doing a love spell, because that energy is going to come back down there. And I've said that shit before. What if your man acquired a taste for penis while y'all were broken up? Or he found his taste for penis? You going to accept this nigga got a taste for penis now? What if your baby mother that you wanted back so bad acquired a taste for ass? You going to accept her back with her ass breath? These are things that you got to start focusing on these are the things that you focus on when you going into these spaces. Your whole your whole homegirl is a whole hoe. You know she is. That's how she survived her entire life. But you keep letting her into your door. Do you trust yourself? Do you trust yourself enough to allow her to be around your new man? Knowing that's how she get down? It ain't about trusting him. It ain't about trusting her. It's about trusting yourself. Can you trust yourself to actually visual? Do you trust yourself in seeing the visual that you will see if you walked into the house and your man was in there with your hoe ass friend? Who you gonna be mad at? Your hoe ass friend? That's what she is? Or your man? Did you listen to yourself or listen to the conversations between why that can lead to be put into play? You set that up. That's why I remember that's one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in my life. It's dumb because it's funny. If anybody's ever seen that shit, like I was at my girl house, I was at the house and her homegirl came by, and then her homegirl was in the house, and then she came on to me. No, I went over to my homegirl house and I'm sitting at my girl house, and our homegirl walking there and said that she wanted to do some things, and I'm sitting there, and then I'm walking out to the car, and my homegirl sitting, my girlfriend at the door saying, "Oh, she trusted me." And then the moral of the story is leave your condoms in the car. Oh my God, that's disgusting. No, nigga, that's putting that shit in that nigga favor. These are the things that you gotta fucking see. You gotta see past this shit in order to be able to become. You have to see past this shit in order to actually defeat this shit. You can't be sitting down here going back and forth about an agenda against this and Black Lives Matter sprayed on Washington Street and Black Lives Matter sprayed on this fucking street. Oh, you excited because you got Black Lives Matter sprayed across the street. How fucking idiot, how asinine is that? You don't own the street. That's like when Netflix, that's like when everything started happening and Netflix gave put all those black things up there, like the black shows and black features. See, Netflix is with us. I fuck with Netflix. Netflix didn't give you not one share of not one stock of not one share or one stock of fucking Netflix. So who benefits from it? Them. You give them your energy. Literally, give them your energy. You give them your energy. It's one thing to acknowledge, and it's a whole other thing to accept. One thing to acknowledge, whole other thing to accept. You can acknowledge that. I can acknowledge that I had anger issues, but until I accept them, I can't do anything with them. I can not. That's like me walking outside and the tire's flat. Tire flat on the car. Oh shit, the tire's flat. Until I accept that the tire's flat, I can't make any other moves. I can sit there and blame. Man, how the fuck? I can sit there and say everything based on what to think and be like, what happened? And man, I ran over a nail, or this happened, or this happened. This shouldn't have happened, and that shit don't fucking matter. It already happened. What are you doing in the now? What are you doing in this now point? What are you doing right now? What are you doing now? Man, we need an economic system. All right, cool. There's a new economic system out. If you went into every single store, this is a distraction for motherfuckers. If you go into every single store, 9 times out of 10, I know around here they do, they say we rather accept card payments or digital payments. They want to accept digital payments only. If they keep going on with that trend and nothing's going back to what it was, and they're only accepting digital payments, cryptocurrency is digital. Maybe I should study some cryptocurrency. Maybe I should get ahead and be proactive instead of reactive. Maybe I should put a couple dollars here and a couple dollars there into these accounts over here and see what I'm doing. Because literally it does it by itself. You literally can order the little piece, the little thing, and put it on your backpack, and it absorbs the fucking algorithm to create money. Literally. So you can be lazy as hell after the fact and still make something happen. The same way your Section 8 friend sit there and make shit happen in her fucking house. She got her Cash App on her fucking Facebook and on her Instagram. She got OnlyFans. She doing private dances at her house. She making her money. But I couldn't do that. I couldn't sell myself like that. It's the physical body. Whether she's unconsciously healed or unhealed, that don't matter. That's an aspect point for you to actually look at. Who the fuck? I don't even know what time it is in Finland because I got a message from Finland. But these are the aspects when you start looking within yourself to understand yourself, to see what you are related to and what is truly your family. The family aspect or the connection based on family is not going to be based upon trauma anymore. The family aspect is your soul tribe, the ones that are on that level of frequency with your light. The ones that are related to you, you're separating yourself away from the relation based upon trauma. That relation, your identity, your ego. Your ego feeds off of your relatives. Just like your egos of your relatives feed off of you. That relative black power and all this, you relate to black power because why? Because you're black. Why? Because you're oppressed. Why? Because you're struggling in some certain way. But once you stop struggling, once you stop being oppressed, once you start accepting that you're more than black, or the definition of black, just take that super intellectual aspect, these become obsolete. So they don't exist anymore. You're aware of them, you see how they work, but you're no longer attached to that aspect of thought process. So now that you're not attached to that, what are you? Redefine yourself. Create your new energy, create your new space. This is that mindset. This is that key mindset. Becoming that monster, becoming that shit that you need to become to do what you need to do. You've done this shit unconsciously for years. It's time to actually turn that shit on and use it to your full advantage. You've rationalized doing it for years. You've rationalized all your irrational behaviors based upon survival. You've rationalized all your behaviors based upon survival. It's matriculated and reverberated and being reinforced by everything based upon your identity, by everybody that is around you. If everybody around you is on that same bullshit that you was on, or they're on the implements of the bullshit that you are on, think about what you create within your space. A child, fix my leg real quick. A child can create conduits around it in order for it to place in earlier stages of itself. I remember when I was little, and I remember when I was doing bad in school. Or take that example. I was doing bad in school. I had to find out why I was doing bad in school. I was doing bad in school because things were going bad at home. So things were in conflict at my house, my home base. So at school, to match that so nobody could notice, I started being you unconsciously start going around the bad kids or the kids that aren't going to class, the kids that are skipping. You get involved with people that are on that frequency of conflict. Simple as explanation to it. You go around the people that are stuck within that same conflict of mindset that you are in. That feed that aspect. So that birds of a feather flock together type shit. So it may not be the same imagery of conflict, but you're within the conflict of not dealing with something. So use something as simple as if I was sexually traumatized, if an individual was sexually traumatized, then when they come into their adult life, there is an aspect where they're going to be around people that were not necessarily sexually traumatized, but they are implementing aspects of what it looks like based on sexual trauma, based on not being unhealed, based on a narrative of a trauma that they're dealing with. So your sexual trauma, whatever happened back here, sexual trauma that happened back here, relates to their aspects of how they're acting out based upon their sexual acts. So you got that homegirl that sleep with every nigga to get a place to stay for the night. You got that homeboy that's sleeping with multiple chicks at one time to have a different place to put his shit. That's based upon a reflective point of your sexual trauma. That's why it connected to you. It connected to you to ask for an aspect for you to see it. The way that they're spreading their energy around is the way that you're spreading your energy around. They've redefined it. They redefined it and repackaged it and gave it back to you. It's time for you to take that back. I oblige you to take that shit back. Understand, redefine the definition, break free from it, and take yourself to the next fucking level. It's not for them to sit there and they're going to judge you. They're going to say whatever the fuck they're going to say. But I just gave you the whole spell on fucking taking the energy back to yourself, making yourself stronger, making yourself better, making yourself what the fuck you want to be. They're going to see you as a monster, a weird, crazy, an eccentric. They're going to see you as a fucking Looney Tune. Let them see you as whatever they need to see you as. Because as they see you as what they see you as, you're able to make clear. You're able to make clear clarity. You're able to make clear diamond clarity decisions on how you expect and move throughout the space. Let them think what they need to think. If they ain't gonna move out the way, they ain't gonna invite you somewhere, cool. I ain't eating that shit anyway. Man, that's family. We gotta invite them. Okay, cool. I'll come. What y'all listening to? Oh shit. All right. This is how you learn how to balance out your playing field. I can go to my sister house tomorrow, and I know exactly what they're going to be listening to. I know exactly what they're going to be talking about. I can sprinkle some seeds in there while I'm sitting there. I got my nieces and nephews around me. There's always an aspect for me to be able to cycle my energy through and filter myself out through. That's messed up that you would use the kids in that manner. They're closer to the spiritual world than me anyway. They're closer to the spiritual world in that space just by themselves. Anyway, naturally. So what am I really doing? Showing them how to do it. This is how you do this. This is how you make this move. This is how you do this. If you're not doing what you need to be doing for your true self, you're saying fuck everybody else anyway. I'm naturally in a space where I can help people the way that is needed and not the way that is wanted. That's where you're getting to. You're getting to a point to where you're becoming so unfamiliar with, you're becoming unfamiliar with the mask of the trauma, the veils that you're seeing through the transparency. You can tell when somebody's hurt. You can tell when this is all about the empathy of being empathetic. Some of us are naturally empathetic. I'm naturally an empath. I'm naturally very intuitive. Other abilities have came online since I've understood these aspects, and it's made me only stronger. But those other aspects wouldn't come online. Your aspects of yourself they're only going to come online down here they're only going to come online on here on a short burst wave based on when you separate from your body, how strong they are. So everything comes down here based upon those aspects. So the same way I can sit there and read cards, dissect the natal chart, make a spell, do whatever, all of that's your byproduct. All of that's your first initial byproduct or your first official mirror. From that mirror, that's when that talent, as you're growing that talent and cultivating that energy, that's when it becomes the second byproduct or the second body of light. Everything's going to come down here in those three bodies of light. The body of light that is the soul. I know that's why I bought these. This is your soul. This is that original body of light. Everything comes down based on that second body of light. It now is a reflection, but it does not have these aspects of the original light or the original space, the original black substance, the melanin. It doesn't have this. So by the time it comes down again, when it comes down again and it replicates itself, I want to see what I look like that. It comes down as the next aspect. It'll come down as your wand. Like I'm using the wand as an example because of the clear at the top. It becomes this. As it comes down this aspect, it comes down and it creates based on the point that you pointed into. What you created down in this space. Based on that can encapsulate that energy. That's why everything down here is everything that you can learn from and you can actually see from, because it's an aspect of the energy from your higher self. Everything down here is based upon that aspect, based upon those natural aspects of law. It's just that it comes down here at a slower rate, and then based upon the energy at that field of how it's collected. So for somebody to say before this the question that spirit. Before somebody can say, oh my God, we didn't create homosexuality and gay people and all this shit. That's all against the agenda, against the black man and the black woman. Take this time into yourself and think about the simple aspects of the situation. Simple thought. If I'm not accepting what I am, if I'm not embracing what I am, if I'm hiding behind something to be accepted, and I'm not to be accepted, and I'm not coming into the full acceptance of what I truly am, and I'm pulling my energy down into this space, don't you think everything will augment based upon The natural law of gender being everything has a masculine and a feminine. So if I'm not accepting that I'm the androgynous, or I've not came to the point of me being androgynous, don't you think automatically everything twists down here into that same narrative? If I can accept that narrative, then I can also accept the same narrative that you come down here for a certain fucking particular purpose, and some people remember more than others. And certain things are activated within that space. So in the same line, I can see when the month, so I can feed from the aspect of energy. But someone says, "Nah, man, nah, nigga, I was born this way." Okay, cool. I can see your point. I can see your point. I can see it. I can understand it. It's not about accepting it. It's I can see that point. So since I can see that point, I am aware of that point, I can actually go into the compassion and the enlightenment of that point. The enlightenment of that point becomes a trajectory for me now to be able to feed from. Now I'm not sitting there like, nah, I'm against that, I'm against this. Why? Those are aspects that they got to deal with, not me. I can understand what it is. I have compassion for what the fuck it is. Therefore, I can now, let me step out of my shit. That ain't got nothing to do with me. That ain't on my radar. That don't resonate with me. I don't have none of the. I have nothing for what that's needed for me. It does not work for me. It isn't for my path. That's for somebody else. All right, cool. On to my next phase, on to my next aspect of what I need to be working on. Instead of me sitting there like, oh my God, these people over here do this to me, and these people over here doing that, and these people over here doing that, and man, they killing people over here. Niggas die every day, B. Niggas die every day, B. Whether by somebody else's hand or their own hand, niggas die every day, B. Then what? This is truly not giving a fuck. This is truly being free of care. Since I'm free, when you become free of those cares, you can manipulate and make anything that you want. Everything's now in your favor. Everything becomes a divine blessing. You can block your own blessings just by doing that aspect of going back and forth. You can block your own blessings. You can block your own distractions. You can set your own key. You can fuck up your own key points of how the fuck you gonna rise. All by the aspect of you sitting there like, maybe I shouldn't do this, or maybe I shouldn't do that, or maybe that means this. It means whatever the fuck you say it means. It means whatever you say it is. Just do not get encapsulated in the thought that that's the only point. That's the key. Don't get encapsulated in the thought process that that's the only way. That's the only point. Because there's multiple ways to that path. The ultimate ending. The ultimate ending, which is actually the ultimate beginning. You've already experienced your ending in your birth. That's your ending. You're getting back to your beginning. You're not getting back to the end. You're getting back to the beginning. So everything that you're seeing based upon breaking down the way it is based upon going to your beginning. So when you're seeing the aspects of what you're seeing from niggas not knowing it's not an agenda against you unless you say it's an agenda against you. It only becomes an agenda against you if you saying it's an agenda against you. You have to accept it first. You have to accept that it's an agenda against you. And then you have to now build within yourself, allow the susceptible programs of that becoming something against you. This is powerless. This has the same amount of energy as a nigga holding up a noose, a white man handle a tomahawk holding up a noose. They have the same amount of power. Which one are you paying attention to? The reason that this has power is because this has power. This is the pro. This is your antagonist. So if I hold up a noose and then let's hold up our fist. They're going to hold up noose. Let's hold up a fist. They got to have a fist anyway to hold up the fucking noose. That's how you bring that shit together. That's how that shit connects. You can see it right there in plain sight. They got to make a fist to hold the noose. They got to hold something extra in their hand to encapsulate the energy. All you got to do is hold up your hand and then make them mad. Just think about it. When you really start thinking about these shits, when you really start thinking about the things based on the how and not the what, that's when you start unlocking shit within yourself. That's when that shit start coming online. That's when you start moving back and forth. That's when you start being able to move between the fucking realms, dancing between the spaces. This is the aspect of every quantum theory that you read. Something as simple as if I grab a glass, I got this glass in my hand. If I took another glass and I had another glass in my hand, I filled this glass with water and I filled this glass with water. And then in this glass, I'm focusing on this glass and putting everything from this reality into this glass. I'm transferring myself to this space. This is the future. This is the past. I'm now going to quantify and take myself from here to here. It isn't about me literally making this glass jump. It's the aspect of, in my mind, I made that glass move based on I can feel that weight on my hand over here. This hand becomes lighter. This hand becomes heavier. I literally can sit here and close my eyes and visualize the glass shifting spaces. I literally can visualize this hand becoming lighter and this hand becoming heavier. I literally can visualize it because I can feel it. I can feel my hand becoming lighter or heavier. That's the aspect of you visualizing and creating it inside of your mind. That's what makes it real, your attention. That's what makes your intentions real, your intention. Whatever's programmed around within your intention, whatever's going to stop your intention, this is how that shit works. Whatever's meant to stop your intention from coming into fruition, coming into the physical fold, is going to come to the surface. It's going to come to the surface as them old ass family members, them bootleg ass friends, that bootleg ass job, that bootleg ass baby father, whatever it may be, it's going to be within those aspects for your physical life, in your environment, directly in front of you, whatever it may be. That's what it's going to come up as. It's going to come as that motherfucker saying, yo, I need a ride. Yo, I need a couple dollars till payday. That's what it's going to come to your life as. It ain't going to come to your life as everybody else's. It's going to come as a life based on something for you to see. Set your intentions. Sorry, I zoned out. Oh, shit. I did not get my full meditation in today as I was supposed to. Running around and all that other shit. This week podcast went into the aspects of hope. Hope being the ultimate suffocation. Hope suffocates the soul and enriches the ego. Hope suffocates the soul and enriches the ego. Stop enriching, giving the richness to your ego. Trying to make everybody accept you for something. You have every example around you of accepting yourself for who the fuck you are. But yeah. Readings, consultations, natal chart analysis. Classes are coming in the middle of the year, mid next year, if not the top of the year. My whole purpose, I want to see you motherfuckers great. If it resonates with you, do what is in thou's heart to show that it resonates with you. Let it work through you, within you. Let it possess you. Your key is to become that monster, that ultimate dark aspect inside of yourself, and bringing it to the light. Allowing those traumas to fester is what will keep this space surviving. Fighting against one side or the other, that aspect of agendas and this shit against us and this is always about us, it's not against you, it's a sacrifice to you. Are you willing to accept the sacrifice? That is how you come into your balance. Only thing you got to sacrifice is your humanity. The only way to get to everything that you want to get to, only way to get to everything that you need to want to get to, is letting go of everything. I literally let go of everything a couple times to come to this space, to come here. You let go before, that's why you're here. You let go before, that's why you're here. You made your program and your stuff to come down here. You let go to come to your end, to understand your middle, to get to your beginning. One second. Whew, that hurt my head. Shit. Right head been pumping all fucking day. That was it. I'm gonna pull that card. I'm gonna pull a card. Let's feel like pulling a card. Again, this is that question and answer period. Y'all can ask those. Drop a question. It doesn't have to necessarily be about the aspects of the lecture. It can be about anything that's on your mind. Let it come out because it's an answer for somebody else. Your question becomes an answer for somebody else. I remember Bobby Hemming always saying that. Ooh, there it is. Ugh. The reason I like the Hermetic deck is because it reminds me of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. So they don't remind you of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Dark Magician! I'm just Pull the Five of Swords. The Five of Swords through the Hermetic deck is the Lord of Defeat. So as I'm thinking about this, as I'm looking at the interpretation of that card, Five of Swords, that aspect of your completion to yourself, coming into that space, it's no longer time to feel defeated about shit. What's happening is needing to happen. That breakaway is needed to happen. That breakaway is needed to happen. What you've seen in front of you is something either you're going to accept. Either way, you accepted the knowledge that comes from it based upon that Emperor. The crazy thing that the front of the Sun in the Morning. I just noticed that about the Emperor card on Hermetic. The Sun in the Morning. That understands the aspect of bearing forth that new knowledge. So what you feeling, especially through that retrograde that's coming out right now, that's an aspect that you need. That's something that you've been needing to deal with for a long period of time. Deal with it. The Eight of Cups represents the aspects of letting go of what you thought you knew to come into the aspects of what you need to know. The Eight of Cups represents those aspects of, within the Eight of Cups is a bunch of empty ass cups. So what have you been pouring your energy into? Stop pouring your energy into those empty aspects of yourself, the aspects that no longer exist. Which leads to the Magician. That's the key to tapping into your true power. The key to tapping into your true power is to stop pouring all that knowledge into empty fucking vessels. They empty for a reason. They empty, but they don't realize that they're not fulfilled. In the final quarter tonight, the Empress. Your power, start nurturing it for you. Stop nurturing your energy for other people. Stop trying to make everybody else good and keep everybody else in balance, because it's further going to keep you at an imbalance. Accept the defeat, or accept the fact that you're not going to be able to save or change anyone. In accepting that, you will become humble to the aspects of the knowledge of your true self. In order to continue moving forward with your knowledge, stop trying to put your energy into those empty ass cups. Everybody gonna hold a cup up to you, but they ain't put in. How Snoop say that shit? Everybody pull out their cups for a sip of that gin, but they ain't put in. They ain't put in. Stop giving it to them. They ain't put into it. That's gonna lead you to the aspects of your true power. Tapping into your true power. Tapping into understanding why you always had the power. And this will allow you to be able to nurture based on that new power. Oh, sleepy as fuck. I just want you to be the best. I just want you to be abundant and ever so flowing. God Alchemist LLC, God Our Podcast. Share, like, so we get them algorithms up so I can actually see the aspects of my changes in my shit. But be the fucking best. You no longer relate to those aspects. And that's going to be the main hard part that's making you upset, making you mad, making you feel weak. Because you no longer relate to the old aspects. They are obsolete. Appreciate it. Stop allowing others to stop you from tapping into your true self. They're either your distraction or the reflection for you to learn. If everything around you is on that same length and it's no growth, that's a cage. Step out the cage. There's no door on it. There's nothing stopping you. I love you. We love us. Ashe. Oh, there. It won't let me end it. What kind of boost? All right, freeze it. Oh, okay.